Hello, hello, hello. What's up, guys? Can you hear me? Hello to Lord Tellum, to Solid Mango, Aaron, and Speed. What's up, guys? Awesome. YouTube guys, can you guys hear me? Dasai, hey, thanks for the follow, man. Sandra P there on YouTube, awesome. Nitesh Kumar, Lilis, I think I just answered your question on Discord, right? I just answered you. It's the next portfolio review is going to be on May 31. Awesome. Instack, what's up, man? Okay, your name is difficult to pronounce. Hardle Mendel, I think. What's up, man? Welcome, guys. We're gonna start in just a second. I'm literally finishing my coffee right now. It was a long night, but yeah, we'll be starting in just 1 second. Aaron, that's a great question. Yes, hitting 3 in Maya, it gives you a preview of how the mesh would look when subdivided 2 times. So if you go to the mesh menu and hit smooth, it will subdivide it once. And if you hit smooth as well, again, it's gonna smooth it twice. So number 3 is a preview of that method, but it's not actually doing it. What's the word? Permanently. It's sort of like it's kind of like a modifier from Blender, so you can turn it on and off at any time. But yeah, it's not actually subdividing. It's just giving you a preview, a live preview. It's again very similar to dynamic subdivision inside of ZBrush. Solid Mango says, I wanted to ask you the bonus chapter for Toboggan course. No, it's not gonna be the Oni. No, the bonus chapter for the Toboggan course, we're gonna cover a couple of extra tools that we didn't cover during the main course. So the automatic remeshing for like assets that are not gonna be animated. We're gonna cover a little bit of the bakes, how to bake information like color information, like polypaint. We're gonna cover a little bit of hard surface as well. So it's just like a couple of extra tools. Evil Fry, what's up, man? Yeah, today we got a portfolio review. Yeah. Motuman says, hey, Abe, is it important too? Yeah, it's very, very important too. Very important, my friend. Depends on the software, Solid Mango. What software? In Maya, you need to attach a bump 2D node, and then there you go. Of course, man. We're Mexican, right? In Maya, you need to attach a bump 2D node, and that one goes into the normal camera input from your AI standard surface. I'll demonstrate it if we get a little bit of a chance in just a second. And David is in the house. What's up, David? Everyone, say hi to David. He's gonna be helping us with the links and some information here. Victor Dom says, "Sir, I hate modeling. It's my compulsion. What do I do?" Well, if you hate modeling, you probably might want to take a look at something else, like animation or BFX or something like that. Jason, we're going to be reviewing the portfolios that were submitted in our Discord channel throughout this past couple of weeks. We closed the submissions already, so we're not going to have more submissions because we still got a lot of them, but we're going to be taking a look at them, and then we're going to, of course, learn about them. We got Tadeo as well. What's up, man? Hello, hello, hello. What's up, guys? Welcome to another live stream here in the channel. Today, we're live streaming, of course, in Twitch and on YouTube, and we got a bunch of news, like a bunch of very, very interesting news for everyone. So let's go through the, what's the word? Let's go through the order of things so that we're ready to start, and then we're gonna jump straight into our portfolio review. So first, a big announcement, or actually, it's two big announcements right here. As you guys know, we recently released, last week, we released the Complete Guide to Retopology, which is a course where I use Topogun and I teach you all of the things that you need to know about how to retopologize your assets for proper optimization and proper animation deformation. Now, there's two very important news about this thing right here. Very, very important. The first one is that subtitles are now available. So if you struggle with my speed sometimes, I know I tend to speak very, very quickly. If you are having a little bit of an issue, all of the videos have now English subtitles, so it should be a little bit easier to follow. I just want to make sure that you understand this. I'm using a tool. I'm doing everything by myself, guys. I do the editing, the subtitles, everything. So I don't have a team helping me with this right now, maybe in the future. But since the subtitles are done automatically, I would say they're about 95, maybe 90% accurate. So you might see a couple of words that are wrong, of course. But it's going to give you like most of the stuff that you need. But here's the important thing, guys. This is very, very cool. As I mentioned earlier on the Discord channel, the guys at Topogun, which is an amazing development team, they're a small team as well. They are considering us an educational like institution. So if you buy the course, this one right here, you can get access to a license, a lifetime access license here from the Topogun guys with a 20% discount. 20%, right? Hopefully I'm not saying that wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's 20%. So the only thing you need to do is go to the Discord channel and follow the instructions that I appended on the announcement part. You need to send an email with your like invoice of when you bought the course, and you're gonna get a 20% discount on your standalone license. That, as you can see right here, is a perpetual license. It never expires. So no extra sort of like updates, no monthly payment, nothing. And if you're going to be doing a lot of retopology, believe me, this is an amazing, amazing software to do so. So those are the two big news about the course that we just released, the Complete Guide to Retopology. We got subtitles available, and we got the special offer to get a discount on your perpetual license if you want to. Now, I already started working on the next course, which, as I've mentioned before, is going to be an anatomy course with 3D printing. We're going to be doing a superhero statue collectible. Okay, so we're going to go for something quite ambitious. Quite ambitious, going for something like really, really cool. Something like this, something like this, something like this. Okay, so it's going to have a very cool base, and we're going to do, of course, the full anatomy, the suit, everything. And this one's going to be releasing in May, of course, and hopefully I'll have more news about the release date very, very soon, okay? So this one's going to be the next course. If you guys are waiting to hear more about this, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow, make sure to go into the Discord channel so that you can get it available for you. And yes, Michael Escu, we are going to be printing it. As you guys know, we received a what's the word? Sponsorship from Elegoo a couple of months ago, so we're going to be printing it like real size. I got all the material ready and everything. Please tell them to add. Yes, we do have a review button, Solid Mango, and thank you for mentioning it. Reviews can really help us. So if you guys go into the dashboard of your Thinkific like page where you have my courses, you should be able to rate them. And also, every time you finish a chapter, you should be able to rate the course as well. So if you're going through any of the courses right now, feel free to rate them. That really helps the channel. I can't show it right now because I don't have access to the student like dashboard. If I log in, I'm gonna get into the instructor dashboard, and it's a little bit different. But I'm gonna ask David to help me with that during today, so that we can explain that on the Discord. Okay. Yes, we're going to go through a 3D printing pipeline. So the first half of the course is going to be the sculpting part. And the second part, we're going to talk about supports, keying, how to prepare the elements, how to print, how to clean, how to like fix any issues that might have come during printing, etc., etc. We're going to do filament printing, and we're going to be doing a resin 3D printing as well. So yeah, KCD, thanks for the follow, man. And let's see, what else am I missing? Oh yes, someone asked, I think last week, about the like super thanks and things like that in the YouTube. They should be available now. YouTube, let me know if you see the icons up there. There should be like a super thing or something like that. Oh, Burke, Topogon can handle a lot of polygons. Like last week when we were doing the review, I was using a 3 million polygon like asset, and it was like not having any issue. But I've seen people work with like 10 million polygons, 15 million polygons. So it's really good. The cool thing about Topogon is I'm not sure if it can get to 100 million, but I can definitely tell you that it can go way more than Maya and Blender. Edoran, no, my friend, no. We're about to start. We're about to start the portfolio review. Cool. Okay, so that's it, guys. Let's get started with our portfolio review. Now, before we start, as always, I just want to mention that this portfolio review, this exercise that we do, is meant to help you guys in 3 aspects. It's meant to, of course, give you guys a little bit of exposure, so we get several, like a couple of thousand views on the video every week. So hopefully people will see your portfolio, and that's what's the word? And that's gonna help you. We see all of the good things that people have made on their portfolios, and we learn about those so that we can incorporate those in our own portfolios. And of course, I'm going to point out the things that might need a little bit of fixing. Okay? So, as with last time, we got a lot of submissions. I'm not sure exactly how many, but probably like 40 or 50 submissions again. So I'm not going to delve too much into all of the pieces from a portfolio. I'm going to focus on the strongest ones and on the weakest ones so that we can help whoever is submitting. Sounds good? There we go. Topogon versus 3D Code for Etopo. Albert, that's a great question. To be honest, I have not used 3D Code, but I have used ZBrush, Maya, and Blender. And like ZBrush is the worst for retopology, for like manual retopology. It's really good with series measure, but if you want to like draw your quads, it's very like bad. And then we got Maya, and then I would say Blender with some of the plugins like RetopFlow, and then all the way up here we got Topogon. So Topogon is really good. Let's see. Yeah, the idea, Burke, is to get it as high as possible. In this course, by the way, it might be the first course where I might do a little bit of time lapse, because it's very difficult to do a course and try to cramp all of the detail into a single session. So if I record everything, it's gonna be like, I don't know, 60 hours, 80 hours of work. So there might be some videos where I speed things up and I just talk over them. It's a more intermediate course. It's not a like introduction ZBrush course, but it's gonna be fun. Kaiser says, hey, babe, dumb question, but I was doing one of your courses where you fix the proportion and pose of your sculpture, but I like this pose that I did. But I like the pose that I did. Like, do I need to still change it? No, you can keep it. If you have a different pose and you like it, you can keep it. There you go. Who do we lost? Hola, Albert G. There we go. Okay, so we're going to start with Ravi Weston. Let me know if the music is fine, by the way. Okay, so Robbie Weston from Chelmsford, the United Kingdom, is showing us this very nice portfolio. I can see a couple of environment pieces. I can see a couple of props, and yeah, this looks interesting. The first impression that I get is that there's a lot of sculpture going on. So all of these 4 characters are sculptures, and what I want to make sure that I see on these sculptures is the full pipeline. So, for instance, this is, I'm not sure if it's a 3D superhero inspired by the Chinese. Okay. It's okay. I can definitely see a lot of work went into all of these characters. But to be honest, the sculptural forms of a lot of these characters are not there yet. And I know this was one of your first works because this was done last year, so I can definitely see some improvement. I might consider taking this one out. You do have a nice eye for renders. Like this render right here looks very, very cool. But unfortunately, the sculpture, the character itself, it's a little bit on the like, I'm not gonna say bad side, but it's just a little bit like some of the forms are a little bit wonky. This one looks way, way better. Like your face anatomy is improving. You still get this, my friend, and we gotta be very careful with cloth. Cloth, if you don't do it properly, can look very lumpy and very weird, and I think that's what's happening with this one right here. You do have a good render like approach again, and a good eye for rendering, but I think this is just poly paint. And one thing that's very important, Robbie, is that you can show that you can do the full process, not just sculpting and poly paint. In this case, well, if you're gonna be 3D printing, then yeah, it's fine. It doesn't really matter that much, but especially if you want to go into games, showing the full pipeline might be a good idea. This one's fun. I like it. It's Venom. Very, very... oh, this is the print version. That's very cool. Yeah, this is nice. I still see a couple of issues with anatomy. Some areas need a little bit more work. But overall, I think this is looking good. Especially the leg. Here, let me show you. Let's do a very, very quick draw on top of the leg. So on the leg, we got a couple of muscles, but the main muscle, or the most important muscle, is called the quad muscle. And the quad muscle starts right around here, and it's this sort of like teardrop shape, like this. So you do have the main volume, but you added more stuff that's actually not there. So this muscle right here, this muscle right here, this right here, this right here, see that? So that's 5 muscles, and that's not how it works. So on the leg, you're gonna have one main muscle right here, okay? And then you're gonna have a long tendon going into the knee, and then there's gonna be another big muscle here, and another big muscle here. The quad muscle, which is again the muscle that goes there on the leg, is made out of 4 heads, but we only see 3, which is very similar to what happens on the arm, on the back of the arm with the tricep. The tricep is 3 heads, but we only see 2. So that's the quad muscle. And then at the little side here of the quad muscle, we got another muscle called the sartorius, which goes in this direction around the leg. And we of course got a couple of extra muscles here on the side of the hip. So it's just a matter of cleaning up the forms a little bit. A lot of people don't know about anatomy, and that's of course a very problematic thing, especially for artists. But for the general public, like, they might see this and be like, oh, that's cool. Like, they won't see that difference. But you don't only want to impress the general public, you want to impress the top guys, and in order to do that, you need to study the anatomy a lot better. This one's very fun as well. I like it. But yeah, what I'm seeing here, my friend, is that it's only ZBrush. Like, so far, you are only using ZBrush. The only other one that I see is this one that is using a little bit more. So Blender, Unreal, it's definitely better. But, I mean, I can see that you want to be a character artist. If you want to be a character artist, you just need to complete your pipeline with some topology, UVs, textures, and some nice, what's the word? And some nice renders, of course. Let's go to the next one. This is Jakov Baszter. Says he's from Poland. And the only message I get here is, my goal is to be a 3D weapon artist. Okay. Well, this is a really good start. I like this. Apocalypse sniper rifle. Okay, I'm not a huge, like, weapons expert, so I'm not sure if this could qualify as a sniper rifle because of the small barrel. Usually sniper rifles are way bigger. This looks more like a submachine gun or something. But the actual, like, the execution of the piece is really, really good. Like, the details, the bump might be a little bit too strong, but other than that, like, this is a really nice piece. Even the poly count is quite nice. So that's a good one. And then this one is also quite nice. Yeah, this is great, man. It's freaking good. I don't do a lot of weapons, mainly because YouTube doesn't like weapons. The platforms in general don't like weapons. But yeah, this is great, man. My advice, and this is very important, Jakov. My advice for weapon design is try to do weird weapons. Because if you're trying to do AK-47s, M16s, and things like that, they are very common in video games. Like, you've seen them all the time, so you could even just like download an asset that is just like a scan of a real weapon, and that's fine. So you might want to try your hand at doing what's the word, like more like interesting futuristic things, like this one right here, like this one right here, okay? Because again, what your portfolio should tell the recruiter or whoever is seeing it is that you can take a concept or an idea and convert it into a workable product. And since we already have all of this ones over here, again, they're very, again, common sort of like stuff. So you might want to try your hand at doing something a little bit more intense. Mr. Barcode Man, yes, you can, but not for this one. This is the submissions for today's stream have been closed, but there's going to be a new one for next month. So if you're not on the Discord, make sure to join. Now, another advice, Jakov, is if you have these old pieces of portfolio and you don't want them here, just get rid of them. Because people will look at them and they will judge you based on what they see right here. So if you feel like a couple of these pieces are not up to the level, just get rid of them. Like this AK-47, for instance, I think it's fine. Like, you could keep it. But if you just want to keep the new pieces, like these two pieces right here, just delete all of these ones over here. So that will be for you, my friend. Let's go now with Draculix. Says, hey, thanks for the opportunity. I'm a student at the second year with BFX specialization. My dream is to make it to the industry one day and make some cool projects as a CG artist. Currently, I'm focusing on finding my specific way to grow as an artist. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, cool. Yeah, I remember your portfolio. I think we saw it a couple of weeks ago, because I remember this dragon right here. Okay, so I can definitely see that you got this sort of like animated style. This is what, like a kitsune or something like that? Lisutsune. Dragon Fox hybrid. Okay. From a sculpting perspective, again, similar to the first portfolio, I still see some forms that are wonky, okay? What do we mean by forms, guys? Anytime you see a surface, like the hair right here, or like the nose over here, and there's a lot of like wobbliness to the surface, that means that the form is not clean. Same for like this bracer right here, some anatomy things that we need to fix. And I can see that you're really focusing on the detail, which is great. Like, this detail looks very nice. But if the underlying form of the detail is not there, then all of that extra detail that you are adding, it just makes it... It's not gonna fix the underlying form, is what I mean, okay? Brandon Ross, hey, there you go, man. I'm glad it was helpful. You're definitely going for some really, what's the word, like saturated colors. I don't think I've seen shows or games with this sort of like effect. I definitely see this a little bit too much. Like, for my taste, that's a little bit too much on the color side of things. I understand why you're doing it because of the type of character that we're doing, but again, it just looks a little bit odd. And another thing is, I'm not really seeing the polyframe. So I'm not sure if this character right here has the necessary, like, deformation loops and everything. That's a nice 3D print. Yeah, I think, Patrick, one of the things that you need to focus on is on the cleanliness of the form. So I'm going to show you something. Warwick 3D Skull. This is the only character that I'm, like, thinking of. So if you take a look at Warwick, for instance, you're going to see that the shapes that he has are a lot cleaner, okay? And I understand because usually in the game you see this very, very small. But even if you have like a really close-up of the character, look at this. Look at this. This is from Edgar Moneton. Look at how clean the forms, the fur, the curves, the separation between all of the assets, all of the elements. This is the kind of cleanliness on the form, especially if you're going stylized, of course. This is a cleanliness that you need to have on your sculpting process. And right now on yours, my friend, I still feel like we're missing some of that. We're missing some of that form. And you're not going completely realistic, and you're also not going completely stylized. So you're in this sort of like hybrid stage where it's more difficult to judge. So my advice is, pick one. Like, do you want this to be like completely realistic? And I mean, it's gonna look a little bit cursed what I'm about to show you, but it could look like the cats from the musical, right? From the movie, remember? So this will be like the realistic sort of stuff that you might want to go for, and this one is gonna be the stylized. So pick one of those and try to push your style to one of those elements. Guibash, no, my friend, you can of course participate. This is free, there's no cost or anything, but we open the submissions a couple of weeks before the live stream. You submit your portfolio through Discord, and then we go over them here during the live stream. So, unfortunately, we already closed the submissions for this month, but you are welcome to join the Discord, which we're going to link in just a second, and submit for next month when we open the submissions. So, yeah, that would be my idea. Also, another thing, Patrick, you don't need to have multiple of the same one. So, if this is the clay render, just keep it on the same one right here, okay? Work on that. Work on your forms. One of the advices that I could give you is try to do some exercises on animals. Like if you like this sort of stuff, try to do like a fox study, like just a normal fox. Try to do a human face, like a traditional like male human, stuff like that. Okay. So that's it. Let me. Now we go with Mustafa Berk Gultol. Says, hey Ave, character art for console and desktop platforms is what I'm going for. What type of project studies should I include or exclude from my portfolio? Well, you got some cool stuff over here, man, and it says here that you're already the lead artist at Definite Software, so that means that you're already working in the industry. I'm not sure how much I'm gonna be able to give to you in terms of feedback, because this is really good, man. I would probably take these ones out, the digital paintings, the old paintings. This is something that you can include on your curriculum, on your CV, that you know how to do oil painting, but it might not be something that you need to do on your portfolio right here. Yeah, because this one's fine. I really like the Spider-Man one, this one right here. Yeah, this is really, really nice. It's missing a little bit of definition on some of the muscles, and there's a couple of stripes right here that end a little bit abruptly, I would say. But it's not bad. We got Johan. Thanks for the sub, man. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Abe. I will see in the general review. I will try to improve my projects as much as I can. Thank you very much. There you go, man. Yeah, keep it up. This is okay, so studies. This is a great question. Should studies be on your portfolio? I would say if you have a really good study, like this one right here, yes. But more often than not, what people tend to do with the studies is they submit stuff like this. like just a very simple time lapse of what they're doing. And that kind of stuff is something that I might not recommend as much, okay? So, but this one's, since they're presented with a nice render, nice textures, nice everything, I think you're fine. Yeah, this is great, man. This is what we would consider like CG or AAA like topology. It's quite heavy. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with having heavy topology. For a cinematic or something, that's pretty cool. Now, here's one thing that you can do, Mustafa, and I think you're already at that position to start and trying to do that. You might want to try and pose your characters, rig them. There's a lot of auto rigs out there, and it might be way more interesting to see. I remember Rafael Grassetti did this a couple of years ago. Grassetti. So he did a very cool, like, insectoid character. Let me see if I can find it. I don't see it. I don't see it, but this is another example. Like, you do a creature, you do a simple pose. It doesn't have to be super complex. Just a simple pose, which is similar to what we're going to be doing on the next course. And with that done, it's just going to look a lot more impressive, because right now it just looks like stiff. I know you move the leg a little bit forward, but if you have proper topology, which of course you show that you have right here, this character should be able to deform with a normal traditional rig. Okay, so try that. Albert G says, I heard a lot that keeping old pieces in the portfolio is good for showing your progress. Yes, I do agree with that, and I do that on my own portfolio. Like, if you go to my portfolio, you can see pieces from 10 years ago. So I do agree, but you need to make sure that those pieces that you did 10 years ago were really good pieces, because sometimes people will upload things that were not good 10 years ago, and they will not be good 10 years later. So it's very important that you make sure that they're really good, or they were really good at that point in time as well. I have seen people using normal spheres rather than the C-spheres. I recommend C-spheres because they give you a controlled environment. So especially with people who are just starting their 3D journey as a sculptor, C-spheres allow you to keep forms and proportions a little bit more controlled. Once you know that, you can do a sphere and that's fine. Like a lot of the characters that I do, they just start with a sphere because I already know my proportions and my anatomy. But if I had to teach, or whenever I teach, I like using C-spheres again because it keeps things more in control. So yeah, Mustafa, I think you're fine. Like you got some really cool stuff right here. One thing that I'm missing is a little bit of like game optimized models. I mean, there's one right here. Some of the topology could be improved a little bit, I think. It's a nice sculpt nonetheless. So yeah, just more characters. Maybe a creature. I mean, we got a creature over here. Really not sure what else I could recommend. Now, here's what I could recommend, because you're already, again, it says right here, you're the lead artist. So if these guys have already been part of a project, like a cinematic, a commercial or something, show that. Show the little bits of or pieces where this character was used so that people can see how it was implemented into a final product. That's very important. Are you coming to Gamescom this year? Where is Gamescom? No, I don't. I honestly don't have it planned. No, I don't think I'm gonna be able to go to Gamescom. Oh, and that's in Cologne. No, I'm definitely not going to Europe. Like, I would love to go to Europe, but it's quite expensive. And my wife would not forgive me if I went alone, so she definitely wants to tag along. So we're gonna see. We're gonna see. Oh, we got the followers? Give me 1 second. Let me update that. In Germany. Yeah, I would love to go, but maybe next year, once we keep growing and we got more stuff to do, more things. Let's see. End goal. Let's go. The next goal is 1,300 followers. There we go. Your thoughts on environment art using megascans? Oh, that's a controversial topic. A little bit of a controversial topic. Here's the thing, guys. And actually, I'm gonna go full screen because I think this is a valuable thing. In 3D, I always have seen things in two different areas. One of them is, or rather, when you're working on 3D projects, you're going to have two types of projects. Personal projects, passion projects, things that you are really proud of and you want to do every single thing on the project. And then you're going to have what I call production projects. Production projects are projects that are just commercial. They're there to make money, such as commercials, films, of course video games as well. But there's usually a focus on using whatever you're doing for 3D to generate a sale of something else, or just like generate a revenue from something else. Now, for those types of projects, using kit bashes, buying models, megascans, buying assets from the marketplaces, I mean, everything goes. Everything is perfectly fine as long as you're doing it legally, right? Because at the end of the day, what's important is that you finish that product so that like finished thing that you're doing helps sell something else, right? So I don't think there's an inherent problem with using megascans or using again, assets that you buy online or just like downloading base meshes, because in production, time and money is very important. So you don't have all of the necessary resources to just spend as much time and money on something, right? So if, for instance, a client comes to me and he says, hey, I need you to do a commercial about a perfume bottle, and the perfume bottle is already online and it costs $50, I'm gonna quote him, I don't know, to say something, $500 for the commercial. I'm gonna use part of those $500 to buy the bottle, which is gonna save me like 1 or 2 days of work. I'm gonna focus on the render, and that's it. He doesn't care, the client doesn't care, no one cares. But if someone's saying, hey, I want you to do a custom character for me because I'm going to be doing like a 3D print or something, well, in those cases, I will spend the time to make sure everything is nice from the very beginning, and I'm not just going to buy an asset, because the products or the goal of each product are different. So megascans, really good, really useful, but you need to understand what kind of products or projects they are they're more suitable for. Hope that makes sense. Okay, let's go now with Raitan. Says, hey, thanks for the opportunity. I'm working in the hyper-casual game segment and looking for future AR, VR, specifically along with character and technical art. Just wanted to know what I should practice more. Let's take a look. Well, I mean, this is definitely not a casual game segment, man. You got some cool stuff right here. Like this one right here, that's very hyper-realistic. This one's a little bit more casual, like this little girl right here. I would probably take a couple of this ones out. Like, I'm not sure I understand this one. Interstellar Fashion. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's a successful piece or as a successful piece. This one's really cool. I like that wireframe look right there. Now, here's a question. And, there you go. Like, So this is exactly what I was mentioning, right? So in this case, our friend Nakul is saying that he used Das Studio. So I'm willing to bet that this character was not done from scratch. It was like a preset character, and he just worked on the composition and the render, which again is fine. If what you're going for is a render, this sort of like publicity image or whatever, then it doesn't really matter if you're using assets. However, if I were to ask him on an interview, hey, do you have experience with characters? And he says no, because I use DAS or something. He needs to be honest about that, because if I see this piece and I want to hire him because I want him to do a similar piece and he cannot use DAS because we don't have the license on the studio, then that's a problem, right? Now I can see over here that you are practicing your sculpting, so this is definitely looking good. I like the rendering and the texturing looks interesting, but there's definitely more stuff that we need to work on the sculpting side of things. Like the forms of this character right here definitely need to improve. There's some anatomy issues that we need to fix. So if you were to ask me, Nakul, what would I recommend for you? Anatomy. Right now, anatomy is probably the best thing that you can what's the word that you can work on. Okay, now it's totally fine, and I think did you guys see the video that we uploaded this week, the one about 7 tips or 7 things I wish I knew? I mentioned this on that video, that success can be like so many things, so many different things. So if you're gonna be doing projects like this right here, that's perfectly fine. Like, there's nothing wrong in like super cartoony, super stylized characters. I used to have a wrong sort of like idea of the world several years ago, where I thought like, no, you have to be super pro and you need to be doing super amazing things to be considered an artist. Nowadays, I've come to realize that that's not true. Art can be found in so many different things, from simple elements such as this one to more complex and hyper-realistic things such as this one. The thing is, every single piece of art that you do, you should be proud of. That's very, very important, and you should be always working on things that makes you proud as an artist, and of course allows you to continue growing as an artist. The Paradox, you can submit on Discord, but the submissions are going to be for next month. Let's go with Hawk. Hawk says, hello sir, I'm a 3D character artist. Please give some feedback for my work and how to find art style in character model. Please give some guide. Okay, let's take a look. So here's a good example of what we're just mentioning, like how you can go from very like simple pieces or from your first pieces to a more recent piece, and you can definitely see the growth. This I think was from, this looks similar to the Oni character. I'm not sure if you were doing the Oni character and you did this a blue orc, or if you took your own, and this is not related to the Oni, but that one, like, I can see of course a lot of what's the word? A lot of things about the human body that definitely needs to be addressed. Now, for some reason, I can see that you're having an easier time doing female characters, which is fine. And this one looks really good. I really like this one. The proportions are nice. Even the textures are nice. I think it's a little bit dark on the colors. You might want to go for a different type of color. And we gotta be very careful with accessories. Like this thing right here, the shoulder pad, it's very ambiguous. So I'm not really sure what I'm seeing right there. Same for the flaps here on the cape. It just looks weird. And this is one of the most difficult skills that you're gonna get as a character or a 3D artist. Oof, and this is another sort of like contentious or controversial topic. There is a big difference between someone who's really good at the software and someone who's really good at art. There's cases where you have one or the other. There's cases where you have both. There's cases where you have none, which is unfortunate, I would say. But the thing is, you need to, as you grow as an artist using the softwares, you need to try to also grow as an artist, understanding what kind of decisions are good decisions and what kind of decisions are bad decisions. The reason why we see certain things in TV, in movies, in games, is because those things work, okay? So when I see, for instance, this character right here, you made a couple of decisions. You added this like breastplate right here, but then you added this hole right here. And I mean, people are gonna question that. Like, why are you doing that? Why are you adding this super obvious, like, weak point on the middle of the character's chest and then reinforcing all of these other areas? And that's the kind of stuff that you need to ask yourselves, like, okay, how can I do, or how can I design something that looks more professional and that looks better, right? So if we look, for instance, for female breastplate, you're gonna see that a good female breastplate actually has no like cavity between the breasts. It's just like it has more room, like this one right here, but there's no like a knife right there pointing towards her heart. So there's a lot of good designs out there that you need to incorporate into your element. Now I know that games can be very violent, hypersexualized. Like there's a lot of things that you can do to make your game more appealing, right? In certain ways. But that's where you need to make a conscious decision of what kind of artist you want to be. I personally like to use the form follows function, sort of like a modo. So whenever I'm designing something, it has to have a reason of having that design. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense and it's just not gonna work for the design. So for you, my friend, I would recommend. Oh, let me get it back here. For you, Hawk, I would recommend trying to improve on the design part. Maybe grab a concept and follow that concept by very closely. Like I can see here, like we can look for female assassin concept art. And you're gonna see a lot of concepts that are really cool. And if you like this sort of like anime-ish style effect, that's fine. You can go for that. Like, look at this. Like this, I would say, is way more successful as a design than some of the ones that you have on your element. And it has all of the exact same things, right? Like some cloth, boots, stuff like that. So I can completely trust your skills from a technical part. You need to improve your skills from the design or art like section, okay? And again, remember, guys, this is not only for the person that I'm like giving feedback to right now. This is for everyone who is watching. 3D Maniac, vegetation foliage art, yeah, definitely niche. It is taught to students, but most of the time when I teach foliage, I just tell them to either download libraries or download free assets because no one cares about foliage. You know what I mean? Like from a game perspective, it's not like you're gonna be walking down the mountain path and be like, oh, look at that tree, it's a beautiful tree. Now you look at the orc, you look at the weapons, you look at the houses, at the ruins. You don't really look like, if it looks bad, you definitely notice it, but if it looks good, you don't even care about it. So it is important to know how to do it, at least from a technical perspective, but most of the time there's already libraries out there. There we go. Let's go now with Waith. Says, hi Ave, I'm studying 3D sculpt by myself with some courses and videos. I was focused on 3D printing, but now I would like to have some feedback, please. Okay, you're definitely going for a stylized anime-ish work, which is fine. We definitely need to work a little bit more on anatomy. I'm gonna show you. This is a friend of mine. He specializes on stylized, on anime-ish comic book style things. I've been wanting this guy to do a course for us, but he's very busy. Hopefully soon. So his name is Chris Silva. He's currently in Canada. He works as a professional artist, of course, and he does all of this sculpts, very, very stylized, very anime-ish. And one of the things that I always liked about his presentation is that it's very clean. So again, that's what you need to do as well, my friend. Wait, you need to clean your elements, okay? Clean your silhouettes. Even if you're gonna do or become a 3D artist, you need to go for this very clean effects. Like I remember, I think you were doing one of these characters as well, Makima from Chainsaw Man. So look at the proportions, study figures. If you can buy yourself a little bit of like a Figma figure or something to study how they sculpt anime characters, that really, really works, okay? Sorry, 3D Maniac, I didn't mean it to be that rude. It's not that they don't care, but again, small studios won't have the budget to hire someone that's gonna specifically do vegetation. But if you're an environment artist, it is expected that you know how to do foliage and stuff like that. So it's not that it's not or it's useless or anything. It's very important, of course, but it's just not the first thing that people look at. That will be my opinion there. Do you have Marvel's designer workflow course or any plan? Yes, I do, my friend. Yeah, if you go to my site, aveleot3d.com, this one right here, Introduction to Marvel's Designer. So we do this Plague Doctor along the course and a couple of other exercises, and I show you all the things that you need to know about Marvel's Designer. So yeah, we got the course ready. Okay, let's go with Torica. Says, hello, I'm a recent graduate who is looking for junior jobs. Any feedback from improvements are welcome. Okay, junior, you are gonna get the strong feedback, because I think you're the first one who's like really mentioning this. Oof, and this is I hate being the one to say like the bad news, right? But we mentioned this before. The industry right now is in a crisis, and you as an artist, you need to show that you can do something more than just assets. Okay, so perfect example right here. This one, Tudor. It's a good model. It's fine, but I can do it. David can do it. A lot of the people watching right now can do it. So you showing this on your portfolio doesn't give you an edge, like against anyone else, because every single 3D modeler out there should be able to do this axe right here. So I'm not gonna hire you because you can do a clean axe, because again, it's not as impressive. I see this one on the other hand, and it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. Like this cannon is definitely a little bit more complex. Now, what can we do for your portfolio, Tudor? I think presentation is the first thing that we need to work on. So you got some cool assets, and doing assets is very important, but we need to work a little bit more on the presentation. This is another perfect example. This room right here, it looks fine. I could definitely see this in a game, but it's empty. Where are the desks? Where are the bases? Where are the paintings on the walls? The grandfather clock? Where are the books and the shelves, right? Like, I'm never gonna see a game with just this asset right here, just a chair and the little table right there. So this is where you really need to spend more time, to invest more time on your elements, to build something that is impressive, to build something that people will see and be like, oh, that's pretty cool. Because again, here I'm just seeing a chair, a desk, and the walls. And any 3D artist out there who graduated from a program should be able to do that. So I need to see that you have the eye and the ambition, I would say, to do things that are more advanced, okay? Because the unfortunate truth is that there's a lot of people that can do the exact same thing that I'm seeing here. And some of those people might be able to do it for cheaper. So that's the competition that we are going for, okay? So that's why you need to try and think on how can we present this in a better way. For instance, this one, I'm not sure where this one is rendered. Okay, it's rendered on Unreal. So one thing you could do here again is finish this room, add more assets, and then record a little bit of what's the word? A little bit of a walkthrough of the character walking around. Try to learn a little bit about blueprints and maybe turn on and off the lights, open and close a door, play some sounds. So make it seem like it's a small little level from a video game. In that way, not only do I see your portfolio and see that you can do the art side of things, I see that you could even help me a little bit with blueprints or with programming if I need to. That makes you a more valuable piece for a team. That's the... this is gonna be another... Why are we having so many controversial topics today, guys? I don't know. Okay. And this one that I'm gonna share now is important because it's something that I've experience a lot with my own students, like with the students that I have here in the universities, and with people who apply to my studio whenever we have some of the openings. From a business perspective, the relationship between studio and artist is a relationship that looks to interchange a specific function or work, right? The studio will give you money, and you will give him, or will give the studio, the things that the studio needs to produce whatever it is it needs to produce. The studio is not going to make you a favor by hiring you and then teaching you more stuff that you should already know. However, if you come to the studio and show, hey, I can do this and I can help you with this, you become valuable to the studio, okay? So I would say one of the important things that you need to understand as an artist, especially if you're going to be working on a studio, is that you need to create as much value for yourself as you can, because that's what you're going to offer to the studio. The studio is going to have several, like, let's say 20 different candidates, and he's going to look at which of those candidates is going to be more useful to him as a studio or to the studio as an entity. And that's where you really need to push your stuff up, because that's how they're gonna compare you. So if I see 20 portfolios and everyone can do this axe, but only Tudor here can do a full level and add blueprints and sound and then think about how the full level is gonna work at the end, I'm gonna pick Tudor, because he's showing me not only that he can follow the traditional things that I need him to follow, but he's going like the extra mile and learning things that are a little bit extra. That's from, again, on a studio sort of like environment. So you need to be as valuable as possible for the studio, because that's what you're bringing to the table. And it's a little bit difficult, again, to understand this, especially when you're just a student, because when you're at school, they tell you, oh, you just need to be really good, you need to know the fundamentals and the processes. And yes, of course, those are important, but also what you bring to the table is very important. Like, how can you contribute to the whole team is going to be fundamental to being hired. Yes, Column, I would say a simple environment could be really useful. And again, here's the thing, Column, where we've mentioned this. Here's the thing where you can definitely use some assets like megascans and stuff like that, because the main focus is going to be the character, but you can dress it up a little bit better with some assets. Videos, Torica. Try doing a very small like gameplay video of the stuff so that you can show all of those skills, because again, right now it's a good portfolio, but it's not there's nothing like spectacular about it, if I may say that. Like, and again, I'm not trying to be rude, I'm just saying that I've seen this kind of portfolios before. So if I'm looking for someone that I need to do this like very fast, and yours is the first portfolio that I come around, I'll call you, I'll hire you, that's fine. But if there's no available work and you want to make yourself stand out, you need to show something that's way more, a little bit more impressive. And as someone mentioned there, working a little bit on the light is also, or will also be important. Okay, let's go to the next one. This is Van. Says, hi, Ave. I'm a character artist. I tried semi-realistic character before, but after that I realized that I like hand painting style and stylize more. Hope to receive feedback from you. Nice. Okay. Yeah, like this part right here is an excellent exercise, Van. It's very fun. I actually want to do it. Should we do a video on YouTube on how to paint this? It's not that complicated, but it does take some time. But it's very fun. It's very fun to paint this kinds of assets. But this is just the thing. Thought it's just one. So what I would do is, just for presentation, duplicate this a couple of times, change the scales a little bit, rotate it so that we see the different parts of the element, and that might look a little bit more interesting, because just one single pot, it's not gonna like draw as much attention. Now this one right here is really good. I really like it. I think this is a very interesting style. There are some anatomy issues that I'm seeing, for instance, here underneath the armpits. Like, that's something that I would definitely change. But I like this sort of like style that you went for. I'm not sure if you hand painted this like the base, or if you use some like procedural generators inside of Substance Painter. But it's a nice style. If you like this style, I would recommend that you try to do more stuff in that way. Because when I look at this one, for instance, which is a more realistic character, I would say that this one is not a hit. This one definitely has some nice technical stuff, like the shoes right here. It's not bad, but it kind of looks like a zombie from PlayStation 2. So it's a little bit, it still needs work. Okay, this one's better. This Oni, I like this one. Still a couple of anatomy issues that we can fix, but I think, Than, that you do have a very nice stylized effect right here. One of the things that you can do is try to go online and look for low poly assets. Low poly 3D animals, for instance. And you're gonna find some people will even like share this for free. Like this gorilla right here. Just download this one and try to paint over it. Just hand painted style. Right? Like this lion. You can just download some of these models and try to paint over them as if they were like game models. And that's a great way in which you can practice. Even some of these like super stylized ones. Like that's a fun little exercise. And I can see that you have a really good hand here at painting. So you could definitely pursue this. It's definitely going to be a change, right? Because I can see that you were learning like the traditional approach, the PBR material workflow approach, and switching to this one might take a little bit of time to get there. But if that's what you like and that's what you're passionate about, go for it. Let's see, 3D Mania, don't worry, man. I love questions. What would you say a vegetation artist to become an environment artist should know how to make a good environment? Yeah, so if you're a vegetation artist and you want to become an environment artist, you need to know how to do trim sheets, you need to know how to do modular stuff, you need to know how to do vertex painting, landscape materials, that sort of stuff. And one thing that is very important for environment artists is that you need to know how to do that in engine. So pick an engine, Unity, Godot, Unreal, and learn the tools to create amazing environments on that specific engine. That's going to give you more stuff. Does hand painting require 2D background? A little bit, Motuman, a little bit. So it really helps. Like if you have a little bit of knowledge about shading and perspective and things like that, it can really help. As a 3D artist, I know modeling in Blender, but I want to learn new skills. So should I focus on learning modeling in Maya, as most studios use that, or should I start learning Houdini or Unreal? Oh, that's a great question, Kushagra. I would say Unreal first, to be honest, because if you already know how to model in Blender, you're not really gonna get or win too much stuff by learning it to do it in Maya, but you could learn more stuff about Unreal. And Unreal right now is crazy. Like, people are doing amazing stuff with it, so might be a good option. Close some of this. Okay, this is Nishai D. Gavai. And it says, hello, Ave. I'm an environment artist. I've been looking for junior jobs. Any inputs on the already uploaded projects, and what should I add? Let's take a look. Okay, so again, this is a similar response to what we just talked about, environment artist. This is not what I would consider an environment artist. This is let's see. This is what I would consider a modeler to be, like a traditional artist, because environments, I'm seeing architectures, right? Architectures like houses and stuff, and it's fine, but it's not something that you use or see very often in video games. Like, this kind of renders is something that you see more in architectural like departments or archivists. This is not something that you see a lot in a game or in a movie. My advice, Nishai, similar to what I just mentioned to 3D Maniac, learn a little bit about landscapes, stream sheets, procedural textures, things like that, because these are good rooms, but this is not what we normally see in environment art for games. This is more like 3D art for, again, for other types of products. Let's see. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Christian says, hola, I'm an architect, but I changed my career to become a senior environment artist. There you go. So there you go. Christian, you're just in time. So Christian here is showing us exactly what I was mentioning about Nishai. So Nishai, you have a lot of architectural stuff, and here Christian has game stuff. It is architecture because there's, of course, buildings and stuff like that, but this, again, a little bit more game related. Like, this is something that I could see on a game. So this is something that we can definitely see more into a 3D environment effect. For portfolio, I'll probably take this one out. This Krokorok. It's fun, but it's not portfolio worthy. This one I like, the Game Boy. It's quite nice. Again, whenever you have an asset, a simple asset like this one of the best advices that I can give you guys is just try to have it in an environment. Like, try to have this on top of a table, on a desk, on the bed, something just so that it's not isolated and on its own. Whenever we see something in a context, it gives more depth to the story, right? Like, it tells a better story. This one's also really good. I like this one. It's a very nice chair right here. But again, it's just a chair. So my advice, Christian, if you have this chair and you have this Game Boy and you have this room, just combine all of them. I know that there's the chair right there. I don't see the Game Boy, but I will probably just like place the Game Boy here on the desk and take a picture right there, and it will look way better than just having it by itself. And then down there on the same like element, you could have like breakdowns of the each of the elements. Yeah, there's probably, and again, there's nothing wrong with tutorials, guys. Like, if you find a tutorial, like the tutorials that I do or anything, and you follow them and you have a nice asset, the question that you then need to ask yourself is, how can I translate this to something that's going to be valuable for my portfolio? Because if you just upload the Game Boy like this, and there's a ton of other people who are doing this exact same model, then if I look for a Game Boy here instead of ArtStation, I'm going to find 10 or 20 different versions of this one that are very similar. But if yours is slightly different, you present it in a different way, you change the colors, you add more stickers, I don't know, you make it your own, then that speaks volumes of the kind of artist that you are, because it shows that you can take something and make it better. Let's see. Optimization is always important, Lilis. Like, there's of course levels of optimization. If you're doing for a shot, for a cinematic shot or a commercial, you don't need to optimize things as much as you would do for games, but you still want to keep things like optimized. Well, I'm an environment artist that's graduating next week. Everyone has told me to specialize in staying in one theme and style. Realistic fantasy is my thing. Do you recommend branching out? Not really branching out, Kyle, but just like being able to do other things is important. The industry has this very interesting thing, and I remember when my teacher told us about this. What was his name? Oh man, I can't remember his name. But this guy, he knew everyone on the 3D industry who was like a... He was an artist, he was a concept artist, but his job was more about building teams and creating teams for studios. So he was kind of like a headhunter. And he mentioned that something that's very curious about the industry is that there's always phases. So for a couple of years, you're going to see a lot of superheroes, and then you're going to see a lot of medieval stuff, and then you're going to see a lot of sci-fi, and then you're going to go back to superheroes, and then zombies are going to come in, and then you're going to have vampires, and then you're going to have, again, fantasy, and then you're going to go back into sci-fi. So, of course, there's always a little bit of everything, but there's times where things just get pushed more into one side. I remember a couple years ago, we had Game of Thrones, Witcher, and Lord of the Rings, right? Well, we still had the Lord of the Rings, so fantasy was big. Nowadays, we're going again into sci-fi stuff. We got like the Three Bodies Problem. We got like Christopher Nolan last year with Oppenheimer. So things switch. Superheroes were big like 5-6 years ago. So there's always this sort of like thing. So if you're only doing fantasy realistic, I would try to do a little bit of maybe steampunk and maybe a little bit of noir. So things that are semi-related, so that when the things change and fantasy is not as big anymore, you can branch out and do other things. It is not as often that if you're doing fantasy, you're going to switch into sci-fi, right? But if you have a little bit of a wider margin, it also gives you a nicer effect. Apocalyptic, yeah, that's right, David, that's another one. So, yeah, let's now, Christian here sent a video as well. Let's just take a quick look here. This is what I was talking about. I think the other guy who we were checking his portfolio left, but look at this. Like this very simple couple of shots of a couple of different assets speaks volumes again about the kind of like artistic vision that you have. This is way better than just I saw something there, and that's a I'm gonna give you guys a tip. You guys are gonna love this one. Let me open Maya real quick. So, look at this. Look. Wait for the shot of the chair to begin, and tell me in the chat if you see what the problem is there. There. What's the problem? It's very subtle, but there's a problem there. Can you guys see it? Pay attention. There you go. It's right there at the beginning. There. No, it's not hard edges. It's the camera animation. That's like a telltale sign of someone who's learning about the 3D world, and he missed something important there. Right there. The camera is linear. It actually has a smooth transition, but it's not doing it the way it should. So here's a very simple way to fix that. Super simple way. No, the animation can be like I don't mind like a smooth animation. The problem is that we go from a complete stop to the start of the animation. And that's something that looks very ugly. And the same thing happens here. When we're finishing the animation, it just stops. Right there on the backpack. So we start with the backpack, and then it moves, which looks weird. And then it stops, and it changes focal length to the shoe. So those very sort of like robotic movements on the camera can be very like weird. So let me show you here. It's very simple to fix this. There's two ways to fix this. Let's go. Rendering, panels, look select. Okay. So if we want a sort of like shot, right, where the camera starts right here and it ends up right here, this is what's happening right now. We got this sort of like slow startup, and then the movement, and then like a slow like stop. So here's what you do. Either you forget the first couple of frames, like the first 5 or 10 frames, or, as someone was mentioning there, we go to the animation editor, we change the curve to a linear curve so that the movement is way more consistent, but we don't start on the first frame either. So we're gonna start on frame 5, and we're gonna end up at frame 120. So we eat up a little bit of the beginning and a little bit of the end. so that the shot looks like a continuous shot, so that it just moves, it just flows. It doesn't stop, it doesn't slow down, it just moves. See that difference? So that is gonna look way, way, way better instead of having this stop. If you need it to stop, then that's when you do the slow down or the slow in, which is again perfectly fine. But you need to be very careful about your camera choices, because some of those jumps, especially when you start very slow or you're stopped and then you start moving very fast, it just looks very, very weird. So careful with those camera movements. But yeah, good stuff, man. Keep it up, Christian. And again, take what I just said into consideration. Like, make sure to integrate everything into environment like you did with that last one, and I think that's gonna be a good one. Yeah, Unreal Engine VCam has a lot of very cool stuff as well. Ideally, momentum should be continued. Yes, especially if there's a lot of movements and then you have like a very like still, like imagine an action sequence where there's a lot of like cuts and stuff, and then you just have like a very still sequence. It looks very weird. That's why in action movies, camera is pretty much always moving. And there's this setup. This is more like real camera oriented, but there's this setup. I think it's called Handycam or something like that, where someone is like grabbing the camera and there's always a little bit of like variation of movement. And there are plugins and little like scripts that you can add to Maya and to Unreal to add that sort of like little movement, and it gives a more realistic effect. Let's see, we're now going with Samuel. Says, hello, I'm Samuel, and I have wanted to know about my portfolio like forever now. I'm always unable to send them through the Google Drive, but I'm glad I can drop it here. He probably meant back in the old channel. Recently I stumbled on a site called Crevado.com just to put in my portfolio a bit. I'm actually a generalist. I started back in 2019 because I wanted to make my own car and just make cards that are not really in the market. But I ended up doing everything. What advice can you give me, someone that's lost and of recent... Okay, let's take a look. The first thing that I see here, my friend, is I don't see a lot of finished pieces. That's important, okay? So... for instance, this one right here, I know you call this a realistic human head, but it needs a little bit of work, right? It's not perfectly realistic. It's a little bit more cartoonish. Same for this lizard. So presentation is something that we definitely need to improve. This is very, very dark presentation. I know what tutorial you were following with this one, which is like the Maya XGen tutorial. Needs a little bit more work as well. I think from all of these ones, the most successful one might be this one from a modeling perspective, because it's a like very nice. Yeah, this should be your thumbnail, by the way, my friend. So make sure to push this all the way up, because the wireframe, it looks cool, but this shot right here looks way, way better. As a product render, this is definitely looking better. I know you mentioned in your comment that you were doing cars and lady shoes. I don't see any right here. So yeah, I feel like we're still a little bit behind on the skills, my friend. I would recommend you focus on something specifically. Like if you want to do product design, focus on product design. If you want to do vehicle design, focus on vehicle design, because right now this portfolio is a little bit all over the place. What assets should I include in my portfolio to join as a game designer? If by game designer you mean you design like the mechanics and the things within the game, I've heard that portfolio is not the way to go. It's more about demos. You need to build demos that people can download, like little indie demos of games, so that they can see what kind of stuff you can come up with. Larry says, I like severely how to present my stuff, so I'd like to know more about what you think is the best way I should do that and what I should improve on in modeling. It's been 4 years working as a 3D artist freelance. Let's take a look. Okay. Well, the first things that I see is that we got a lot of stuff. And remember, having a lot of stuff, it's not bad. But having a lot of stuff that's not great can be bad. And I do see a lot of stuff here that's not great. For instance, this one right here. Do we really want this bucket on our portfolio, Tanvir? Ask yourself the question. Like, really, be honest with yourself. Do you think this is a portfolio worthy piece? Keeping in mind that there's endguns all over the place. So this is not even like game ready or anything. This is just a sort of like a product model. I would say, hey, maybe that's not the best portfolio piece for our portfolio, right? Same with the barrel. Same with this lamp right here. I have a rule of thumb, and I've mentioned this before. If you have something on your portfolio that you can do in 2 minutes, it should not be in your portfolio. Well, not 2 minutes, right? But I don't know. 1 hour, right? So this thing right here, it's like a sink mule slim bath. Okay, cool. You want to do a mule slim bath? You want to do like bath pieces for your portfolio piece? Don't do this. This is a no. Don't do this. Go online for a bathroom and do the whole bathroom. Do that. Do this. Do this one right here. This is an excellent, by the way, this is an excellent exercise for anyone learning 3D. Like if you've taken my first like Maya course, this one right here, and you want to go to the next level, or you're going to practice all of the tools that I showed how to do on this one right here, grab any picture of a bathroom or like a simple room and do it. Like with all of the things that I teach you on this course, you can totally do this one right here. Totally. And it should take you like 2 or 3 days at most. Okay? So this is the kind of stuff that you should be doing if you want to do this stuff right here. So presentation wise, what would I recommend? More of this stuff. And careful with the proportions. Can someone tell me what the issue with the proportions is on this one? Where can you see an issue with proportions on this one right here? Yeah, from a game designer, Shadow, I mean, like the ideas, exactly, like the scripts. Like how would you implement a specific thing? Like if you're thinking about creating a magic system, if you could do some sort of like crafting system, like how would you do it? How would it work? And if you can make it both on a script, right, like the text-based element, and then actually implement it, that speaks volumes. Yeah, the toilet is huge. Like this is the bathroom for a giant. I don't want to see I don't want to imagine the size of things that someone can produce to use that kind of toilet. So yeah, this is one of those things that proportions are just off. And the render's not bad. Like this is a relatively clean render, but the proportions are off. And proportions are one of the things, Tambir, that you really need to take a look at. Now I can see some better assets like this one right here. It's looking a little bit better. We're using a little bit more Substance Painter. For you, I would probably recommend my Substance Painter course, again, to increase a little bit on your skills on rendering, and try to find a way, for instance, all of these buildings. If you were doing all of these buildings for some sort of project, build a small city and render a small city with all of them so that you can show them all in one single piece that looks more impressive than just having them all by this. And go through your stuff, man. You got, I think, 60 pieces right here. Go through them and be very honest with yourself. Is this something that's going to impress someone? And if it's not, take it out. That would be my advice right there. Exactly, Seraphine. That's exactly it. The proportions were off. Okay. Lamarvin McMorris. Let's see. It says, "Hi, Abe. I'm a 3D artist that's worked in the industry as a scan cleanup artist and digital sculpture. I'm currently seeking work but have not had any reply, so I want to get a portfolio with you so I can improve." Okay, cool. Let's see. So, here Lamarvin is actually talking about a very specific skill that's coming more and more in the industry, which is a scan cleanup. So they give you a dirty scan like this one right here, and he needs to clean it up. So delete all of the artifacts, rebuild some of the elements like the hair, stuff like that. This is really good. Like, this is a really nice scan. Lamarvin, one of the things that I would recommend you do if you're doing these scans and you have access to them, like if the client allows you to do it, try doing some retopology. You can check the retopology course and try doing some PBR texturing. So make this guy's game ready, because that's what they usually use the scans for. They prepare them for a game. So try to see how you could implement this or get this guys into a game. You could also do a little bit more sculpting work. So for instance, this one, I can see that there's a lot of lost detail on the skin. If you can like improve the sculpt, that's also a great way to do it. I love this Funkos. Oh, this is great, man. Did you do this one? Wow, this is really good. Look at this. Is this the official Funko? Or Funko? This is great, man. I love this. Yeah, these are really good. I know it says NFTs right there. I'm not sure if these were the official ones. I hope they were, because that's a great piece for a portfolio to have some official Funkos. I see a lot of sculpting. I think that would be my advice for you, my friend. I see a lot of sculpting. You might want to get a little bit into the next part of the pipeline, especially if you want to what's the word, if you want to do more advanced stuff. Now, if you want to stay in sculpting, my advice would be to start doing some more advanced sculpting. There's a huge market right now thanks to 3D printing for things like D&D figures and like sideshow collectible superhero statues and things like that. But you do need to increase your level, because I see some good stuff over here, but there's more anatomy things and elements that you could definitely improve, likenesses and stuff like that. Can't I be a game designer without learning script or doing script? I mean, it could be possible, Shadow, but see, and this is another one that is very funny to me sometimes. I've had students that come after they graduate and they want to work with us, and I tell them, okay, sure, but here's what you need to know. I need you to know sculpting, I need you to know modeling, I need you to know this, and that. And they're like, oh, but I only want to use ZBrush. I just like ZBrush, so I just want to do ZBrush. Or I just look like Maya, I just want to do Maya. It's like, for a small studio, it might be difficult for you to fit. If you're just gonna be a game designer and you just want to design, no script, no nothing, you just want to have the ideas, you're gonna have to have some really freaking good ideas, because ideas, as I've mentioned before, they're free. Everyone can have ideas for elements, but transferring or translating an idea to an actual element can be very difficult, okay? So it's very, very important that you not only have good ideas, but know how to get those good ideas into a workable state. Later on, after you've proven that you can have ideas and make them work, then you can become that guy that's just like, I'm just writing, I'm just like thinking about stuff, and that's it. But at first, like at the beginning of your career, you do need to do more sacrifices and do the work to show that you can do it. It's like people who say, I had this, oh my god, I'm gonna tell you guys about this story. Freaking story, man. So this was like 7 years ago. I was working and I got a phone call. It's like, hey guy, hey man, my name is, I don't know, whatever, I'm gonna say Daniel. I got your contact from a friend of mine. He says that you do 3D and that you could do a game. Well, we have an idea for a game and we want to talk about it because we feel like there's a lot of potential for it. And I was like, yeah, sure, I'm in my office. If you want to drop by, let's have a talk. So Daniel comes to the office with his friend. Let's call him, I don't know, Mark. So Daniel and Mark are there with me, and they're still talking. It's like, hey, at that time Fortnite was starting to get like really big. They were like, so we got an idea for a game and we want to see if you and your team can make it for us. It's like, sure, making a game is tough, it's complicated, but we could definitely start thinking about maybe doing like a prototype and just like a level, a couple characters, making sure that the idea works, and if it works, maybe Kickstarter or something. I was trying to give them like options, right? And I was asking them, well, can you tell me the idea of the game? And they were like, no, we don't want to tell you the idea because we don't want you to steal it. And I just internally laughed because I've heard that a million times. And I told them, no, see, like making a game is very difficult. So it's going to be like, even if you tell me, it's not going to be easy for me to just copy the idea and do it. And I told them, besides, if I'm going to be using time to make a game, the odds of me making your game or making a game that I want to make are like way in my favor, right? So I'm probably going to be doing my game, not yours. So I convinced them to tell me their idea. You guys want to know what the idea was? They were like, Fortnite, but with gambling. And I was like, what? Yeah, so the game is going to be 100 players, and it's going to cost 1 cent per player to join the game. And whoever wins the round gets 50 cents. So if you win, you get 50 cents. And if you lose, you just lost 1 cent. And the other 50 cents go to the company that made the game. And I was like, wow, okay. I was willing to give them the benefit of the doubt at that moment. I was out. I was pretty much out when they said that, right? But I was just listening to them and I was like, okay, fine. And I started asking questions like, what would you like us to do? Do you have experience programming or scripting? Because we were an artist studio, or we were an art studio. And they were like, no, we don't know how to make a game. Okay, have you done any programming before? No. One of them was, I think, a psychologist, and the other one was I think he was studying medicine or something like that as well. So they were like, no, it's just this idea. It's a great idea. It's like, okay, do you know about, like, have you done any research about, like any type of permissions or rules that you need to do for a gambling game? Because that's pretty much gambling, and games work in a different... No, we haven't done any research. We have no ideas. We have no concept art. We have no story. And they were still, like, very, like, excited about their idea and their game. So I told them, sure, hey, I can do a prototype for you. We can do a level, 2 players, just get an idea of how the basic shooter is gonna work. It's gonna take us about a year to get to a nice workable prototype, and it's gonna be, I think I quoted them like $1 million pesos or something like that, which is like 250,000, no, $25,000 or something like that. I don't know. It was not a huge amount, but it was like quite heavy. And we were like, oh, we didn't know it was gonna be so expensive. It's like, well, I can teach you how to learn 3D. I can teach you Maya, and you can start doing it yourselves, and it's gonna be way cheaper. But if you want us to do it and us to do something that was like something like that, then it's not gonna work, guys. So that's the story of Mark and Daniel. Again, I don't even remember their names, but the thing is, ideas, my friend. All of this I'm saying, Shadow, is because you might have really good ideas about game mechanics. I might have really good ideas about books, comic books, video games, films. But if I never do it, if I never do a proof of concept, which is just the idea, like the executed idea, then how can I believe or how can I trust you that it's gonna work, right? That's why you need to do the sacrifice. You need to put in the work and show that your idea has promise. And then if your idea works, it can go and potentially be like amazing. One of the stories that I love about is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Have you guys heard about that story? So, at least the story that I've heard is that these guys were having a pizza at their place, and someone just drew a turtle with a katana, I think. There you go, something like this. And it was just funny, and they were like, haha, this is funny, and they just kept going, and now it's a freaking multi-million-dollar franchise. But they actually executed the idea. They tried it. They did the first comic, it sold, and it went and created amazing things. So it's very important, again, that you guys, first of all, don't be scared about sharing ideas, because again, ideas are only as valuable as the execution. So you might have the best idea in the world, but if you don't do something with it, then the idea is just going to die, and that's it. So don't be afraid of sharing ideas, because you can learn more and improve upon those ideas. And it's very important, again, that you put in the work and do a little bit of sacrifice to make that idea into something that can work. Again, a proof of concept is what I would say. I hope that helps. Is the stream over? No, it's not over. We're just having a little bit of a talk there. Yeah, there you go, Callum. Game jams, proto demos, game design documents, level mechanics, all of that information is really good. Really good. Okay, let's go. Next one. That was Lamarvin, right? Chrono. Oh my god, I need to hurry up a little bit because we still got a lot of stuff. Oh, nice. So Trista Ponstler says, hello, I want to possibly get into the game industry. I have created some assets that have been integrated into games already. Yeah, this is really good. Like this Triceratops, nice. Like this is cool, man. Really nice. Really nice. Nice, clean topology, low poly enough for games. This is great. And the presentation is amazing. Look at that. Look at how clean the presentation is. Amazing. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, Trista, do more. you're in for a you're in a really good spot right here. You got some really cool stuff. Amazing presentation and render. Which you need to do a little bit more. A couple more. I would probably recommend, Trista, to do, if you can, a more humanoid character. Because all of these are very animal-like, which are, again, great. Oh, this is amazing. Yep. Nice topology. Nice. Yeah, I really don't have anything to say, Trista. This is great. There's a couple of things and elements that we could definitely clean up, shape-wise. But I can definitely see the improvement from this first one, sort of like Godzilla model, to the last one, or to the most recent one. So keep it up, man. This is great. Let's go with Shvan. Says, hey, myself is Shvan. I just started to build my portfolio. Feel free to use harsh words to grow me up. Okay. Anatomy is good. It's a good practice. Again, a couple of things here that we can fix on the legs and on the arms, but it's a good practice. I would not have it on my portfolio because it's just a study. This one's very nice, actually. I like this one. It's a nice render, nice clean textures. Nice proportions. Yeah. My advice for this one, Siobhan, is try to give him a shirt, try to give him a hat. Just like try to do a more of a portrait presentation so that it looks not like a study, but like an actual like piece. And that could really help. And then this one's good. It's a little bit low poly. I would like to see the high poly. And the only thing that's missing is, of course, the textures. So texture it and show us the result in the next portfolio, Siobhan. Ramim, let's see. It says, hi Abe, so here's some works I thought may be presentable. Would love to hear your words on them. As for gold, I'd love to work on film side stuff, like cinematics. Is there any particular way for showcasing that interest? Also, I'm going through traditional fine art disciplines, so kind of been jumping back and forth to these dimensions. I'm a bit confused about which path to follow and how to crack into the industry. Would love to hear your thoughts. Okay. Yeah, I've seen this one before. I remember this frog. My advice, Ramim, if you want to get into film, one of the things that you need to learn is how to integrate a 3D asset into a live plate or into a photograph. So try taking this character, for instance, go outside to like a forest or like a river or something, take a couple of pictures and try to use DaVinci Resolve or Blender even to integrate, to have like a photograph of this guy in the real world. Use the like a similar HDRI stuff and things like that, because that could really help sell these elements as part of a film production. I don't love this one, to be honest. I mean, it's a fun concept, but it looks kind of creepy. Might be my own personal interest, but I don't love that one. Aristoquack. This one's fun. Same thing. Like, this guy could be a... It looks like it's made out of real materials. So try to integrate it into a real background. Okay? So try to go... again, to an old building or something, and find a place where this guy could be sitting, take a picture of the background, and make sure it looks like he's part of the environment, because that's one of the things that you're going to be doing a lot, especially if you go into film and commercials. Like, things should be integrated to a live plate. So that would be my advice for you, Rami. What is the best software for doing remesh? If you mean retopology, Topogun, by far. After trying a lot of different ones, Topogun is definitely the fastest. This is Kusik. Hello, says, hi sir, myself Kusik from India. I want to know how many more works, given some feedback about my work. Okay. So, cool. Now, this is one of those ones that I see, and even though there's several of them, most of them are in a quite good level. I would still take out some of them. For instance, this little turtle right here, Alex. It's a fun turtle. It's not portfolio worthy, so I would probably take it out. The model is fine. See, actually, this model, if you did this model, you could sell this model or give this model to the community if you want, because doing hand-painted for this model would be very, very fun. Like, trying to do all of the textures of the shell and everything. This one is a very, very good model for doing that. But texturing-wise, we're missing textures. Like, there's definitely more stuff that can be done with textures. Metal Latchware, my friend! Metal Latchware, why? We need to upload that sticker here to, what's the word? Here to Discord as well. This is way too much Metal Latchware, man. Like, it's a nice model. It's not bad. Textures can definitely... It's texture work. Like, in this case, texturing is the thing that needs to be improved. And maybe a little bit in poly count if you want to optimize it for games. This one's really good. I like this one. This one's very, very nice. I don't love that thing right there. Looks a little bit weird. This one looks great. Like, I would like to see more shots of this temple right here rather than this one right here, because this, like this, it looks very, very nice. Now, I'm sure you're using a lot of assets, like the trees and the plants, even the deer right there. Those are assets that you're probably just like building together. If everything is kit bashed, if you grabbed everything from the marketplace or from online sites, make sure to say that on the description, because in this case, I can hire you as a level designer or level like assembler or something, but not to do this, because if I need you to do a temple and you don't know how to do this temple walls and temple pillars and stuff like that, you're gonna be we're gonna be in a little bit of an issue, right? So, why is Topogun better than Maya tools? It's just faster. It can handle more topology. The tools are way faster, so you don't need to be clicking as many times, and it just, for me, it just feels way, way nicer. Okay, let's go with Adish. Adish. There's no message from Adish, so I'm just gonna go with what I see here. I see a character artist. I see a lot of sculpts, stylized stuff. Very cool. I like it. But the problem is that we're not seeing UVs and textures. This is just poly paint. So the only thing I can see this used for is things like 3D printing, for instance. I would probably change the way the leather best looks. I mean, it's good. You got some good forms, and that's great, man. But I'm not sure, like, you say here that you're a texturing artist. I'm not seeing texture maps. I'm seeing poly paint. It's nice shading, but this is more for, like, concept stuff. So if you want to do textures, you need to do UVs, you need to do retopology, and you need to do proper render. But this is good, man. I really like some of these guys. Now here I know that you... See, like, this tells me that you do know the pipeline. You do know how to do traditional UVs and textures and everything. My advice, do the exact same thing, but for characters. Show me a character with proper topology, with proper animation topology, and proper textures, and that's gonna look very, very nice. This one I really like, but at the same time, I feel like it's incomplete. I feel like it's just an exercise, and you've been saying it right here, it's just a speed sculpt. So either finish it, or maybe just keep it on other socials. That would be probably it. Level editor, yeah, there you go, Solid Mango, thank you. Alan V says, hi sir, I'm interested in character design. To achieve my dream job, I'm building up my portfolio. Please give me feedback for my portfolio. Thank you. Have a good day. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, all of this traditional stuff can be left out. There's no need to have it here on your portfolio. This one's fun. You see the scan? This one's fun. I like this one. Again, that's something that I could see in the game. Okay. Interesting. Wally. I usually advise against doing a lot of fan art stuff. Fan art is fine because it gets you links or likes and views. But unless you do it better than the original one or in your own unique style, it can be very complicated. This one's good. I'm not fond of the white background. It's a little bit too intense. But the sculpt is fine. I would need to see a retopology on this. Otherwise, it's just poly paint. Now, this one's quite nice. I like it. See, you guys need to make better choices with your thumbnails. Because at first, I didn't even notice this. It was very noisy. So you might want to try and have a different view. This one right here might be a little bit better. Now, what I'm concerned about with this character, and everyone here probably sees the same thing as I do, is that it looks like it's just a high poly character with poly paint. There's some anatomy issues right there that you're hiding quite nice with the armor. See, now I'm not sure because you did rig it. So the question is it... It's really nice. It's a really nice presentation. I'm not gonna lie, but I would like to see. I would like to see if this is like just a sculpt or if it's a baked character. Kind of feels like it's just a baked character, but at the same time, I'm not sure. So yeah, there's definitely things that we can change, but the armor really makes up for it. Like you hide a lot of the anatomy issues with a very cool armor. So just work on cleaning up that stuff. This one's very nice. It definitely looks like the character. Now, I've seen you use... I'm not sure if you use fiber mesh before or action or something, but try doing that with this, guys, because it looks very weird having that sort of... It looks very realistic, and then we got those sort of like clay effects right there. So just do traditional hair. This one's a little bit intense. I think he's falling a little bit into the cartoonish side of things. I would need to see the reference. Yeah, I can see you have proper topology on this one. Okay. Yeah, and we need more full body characters, my friend Alan. Like, if you want to be a character artist, you need to have more full body characters. It's very important for that. No, but he's post, Lord tell him. Like, the character was post, so there's definitely some sort of like rigging involved. Yeah, exactly, Callum. Topokan is designed as a faster, more friction-free workflow. In Maya, you pretty much have to do everything one by one. Oh, Shavin. Shavin showed us his portfolio a couple of months ago. This, I was very impressed. See, like, I'm gonna show it again for those who haven't seen it, but Shavin did this little, like, cinematic, and it's such a simple cinematic and so well done. Like, just very simple camera movements, the thing we just talked about a couple of minutes ago. It's just a simple couple of assets. He's using this mask that we did a demo on YouTube. You can follow along as well. It's the Kindred mask. And then I think he used Embergen. I think I remember him mentioning that he used Embergen for the effects that you're going to see in just a second. All of the rocks and stuff, that's megascans. This is, I think he rendered this in Unreal. And it's just a very simple, again, sort of like short cinematic. You can imagine like a voiceover, like telling the story of this thing. Look, that super subtle, simple movement. And that's it. Yeah, it looks really, really good. And it was a one-man job. It took him a couple of, what's the word? A couple of weeks, or I'm not sure if like a month or something. But he did a great, great job. And I told him, I even mentioned, it's like, Shabin, you gotta show me how you did the color grading, because the color grading looked amazing. And that's what I mean. Like, even though it's simple assets, it's just the mask, a couple of skulls, and the, what's the word, and the rocks. Look how much more powerful it is to see these assets within the context of a cinematic, right? So that's what I encourage you guys, all of you guys, to do. Not exactly this, right? But try to think how to present your stuff in the best possible way. And that's going to give you an edge over the competition. This one's really good as well. I like the cloth. I do feel like there's some anatomy and form things that we can improve on this character right here. Again, presentation. Presentation looks really nice, and that's the important part of our portfolio. Okay, good edge loops. That's nice. Lots of reference. This is amazing. Usually for reference, this is a little bit of a nitpick, but usually for reference, I don't recommend people using a lot of 3D work. I would recommend you look for more traditional work. So masks, the Lord of the Rings, like makeup things. This is AI stuff. Try to avoid AI stuff, not because AI is bad. We've had the discussion before. I'm not going to go into it right now. But just because it won't give you a curated version of what we're looking for in terms of elements, right? So you're going to get like an amalgamation of things. And it's better to look for a specific reference. So be very careful about what reference you pick, because the reference that you pick is the kind of reference that's going to be like translated into your final pieces. But yeah, cool stuff, Shabin. Keep it up. I think you could benefit quite nicely from the course that I will be releasing next month, the anatomy course. Go with the next one. Very says, hey Ave, this is just a quick drop from my end. Very okay. Very I see a little bit of everything, and you even say it right here. So being an animator, environment design, and 3D modeling can be a little bit complicated. Let me take a look at some of this, guys. Lots of fog. Remove the fog, man. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. That's an interesting shader right there. Again, this is probably just like some tutorials that you were following, which is fine. We need to find other ways to present our stuff, man. Let's see this fight. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure, man. It feels a little bit all over the place. Yeah, Ariane, I think we're still on the beginning stages of your journey as a 3D artist. And I feel like you might be wanting to grab a little bit more, like you're biting a little bit more than you can chew. What I mean by this is you're trying to learn a lot of stuff. Now, there's one thing that I see right here, and that's the fact that you're definitely looking into animation. So my advice, if you want to do animation, do animation. But just animation. Just focus on animation. Don't try to do modeling and what's the word, and rendering and stuff like that, because it's gonna be complicated. Okay. Now I'm gonna be a little bit direct with you, my friend. I can see that this environment that you posted here was 4 months ago. Okay, 4 months ago, and you have a demo reel, and we're in April, so 2024 is not over yet, man. You still got a lot of time to work. You don't need to be having like a demo reel 2024 right now, because 2024 is not over. And as we've mentioned before, there still needs to be improved. I can definitely see that you're going for animation. So my advice, just go for animation and work on this. Work on the fundamentals of walk cycles, jump cycles, lip syncs, because I can see a lot of practicing here, and I know you're learning, but this is still not to the level of an animation portfolio, okay? So we need to work more, Aryan. And again, hopefully you take this the right way. I'm not trying to tell that you're a bad artist. It's not that you're a bad artist. You're just starting your journey, and you need to polish more and more and more, okay? Let's see. What skills besides texturing do texture artists need to be competitive in the industry? If you're just going to be doing texturings, you need to be really good at UVs. You need to know a little bit about tileable textures, so how to create your own tileable textures, probably using Substance Designer. Photogrammetry is another one that's quite nice, like being able to take pictures of a specific material and build your own material with Substance Sampler, for instance. Knowing how to use Quixel, stuff like that could be important. Yes, no, that there's no, in not only references, there's a lot of, what's the name, Sarn, of the animator that you're watching? He's really good. I'm not an animator. That's why it's difficult for me to recommend animation stuff, because I don't do a lot of animation. I know the basics, but it's not the main thing that I do. But there's one very good guy. He has some cool stuff as an animator. I'm gonna get his name in just a second. But yeah, it's just more practice. More practice, as with everything. Let's go with Ofek. Says, hi, Ave. I'm almost finished my first year, having a great time learning about the 3D world right now. I don't have a specific goal. All I want to do is study and experience everything about 3D. I'm doing the ZBrush, the Oni course, which is fantastic. I'd love to hear your thoughts on my work. Awesome. Cool. Yeah, I know this one. The cheat is called. This was from my old ZBrush tutorial. So I see some cool stuff in here. Again, no need to upload everything. So, for instance, this pendulum animation, I'm sure is fun, but it's not something that really needs to be in your portfolio, so I'll probably take it out. Same for a couple of this one. Like this one's right here, that's very, very simple, the Frearian staff. This one's a little bit better, so I'll probably keep this one. But this one, I'll probably take it out. Texturing, we need to improve a little bit on texturing, Sato. Sato Mobile, this one. And it definitely needs a little bit more texturing. Ofek, sorry. So, modeling is fine. I really like this microscope. This is a really good one. Things are looking a little bit sharp on your edges, so I would try to add a little bit more bevels or a little bit more curvature. I know a lot of objects in the real world are not as smooth and as beveled. And this one's nice, but you're having some issues here with illumination. So this high glossy effects that you have right here, that's something that needs to be checked on your render engine. Not sure what render engine you're using here. It looks very, very, very dark, and you're getting, like, it looks very fake, very CG. And nowadays, there's no excuse to have this sort of, like, CG look. This is really nice, really nice. I've always wanted a pinball table. There was one a couple of years ago from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This one right here. Oh, it's so good. Maybe when I'm rich, I'll buy one here for my game room. But pinball is very, very fun. So yeah, this one definitely needs a little bit more of a touch-up on the lights, my friend. Lights is like, things look a little bit dull in general in your renders, I would say. So try playing with a little bit more of a cinematic light, and careful with your saturations. I'm not sure if this is like linearized or something, but like the colors, they look way too dark and saturated. So maybe you're exporting in RAW or something like that, and that's why it's looking a little bit weird. Let's see. No, I don't have a friend who works at Pixar Solid Mango. I had a friend who worked at DreamWorks. I have a friend who works. He's right now at 2K in Ireland. Oh, it's right. Yeah, so you need to color correct it, man. Like, you cannot publish the RAW. You need to publish the sRGB effect, because otherwise it's just way too dark, and it's not allowing us to see the whole thing. Also, careful with your proportions. Like, this air conditioners look way, way too big. Same for this lamps. There's a couple of, like, proportions things that we can improve. Like, over here on the guitar, I'm not sure if you duplicated the guitar, but I see two, like, handles right there. That also looks a little bit weird, so just be careful with that. Says, hello, Ave Leo, sir. I want to be a 3D character artist. This time I wanted to bring my first full 3D character. It took me 35 to 40 hours to complete. I don't know how to do haircuts, so it's without hair and eyebrows. This is Krishna Kumar. Someone was asking me to review this guy. There you go. Okay, so this is definitely stylized. You can see it on the feet right there. Look at that huge big toe. Anatomy-wise, it's there. Definitely a couple of things that can be softened. Not really improved, more like softened. Because we do have some harsh like divisions in some of the muscles, but I like it. It's a fun. It reminds me a lot of the kind of stuff that I used to do several years ago. Yeah, this is good. It's a really good practice, Krishna, or a good like a portfolio piece. My advice is we need to look at more reference. Way more reference for the specific details and elements of the skin. And the skin definitely needs a little bit more work. It's a little bit shiny right now. Like, I don't see a lot of variation. There's some forms on the head as well that we could definitely improve. We have more stuff? Okay, we have some assets. Cool. Yeah. So, but for a first full, like, 3D character, it's good. 40 to 60 hour, it's not bad. I think it's quite nice. But usually characters can, like, I remember my first couple of characters, like the ones that I had on my portfolio when I graduated, they took me about 80 hours, 80 to 100 hours per character. So it can definitely take way more time. I used to have one, Ocean, back at next to it. I'll do one more. I'll do a video on YouTube soon. Let me write that down. Anna, hello. Okay, so let's color correct. And we're gonna talk about loots and stuff like that. Yeah, Sir Wade. There we go. Sir Wade, yeah, he's really good for animation tutorials. That's one of the guys. Michael, thank you. Let's go with Lore. Get on. It says, recent graduate, second degree in game art and development, trying to get into the industry as a prop artist or environment artist, working on environment currently. Yeah, same detail, man. Like, you already know. Here's the thing, Lori. I'm going to let the chat tell you exactly what I'm about to tell you about your assets. I know the chat knows what I'm going to say about this particular portfolio right here, because it has good pieces, but it's missing something. What is it? What is it? What is it missing? And it's weird, because you actually do have it here on your thumbnail, but you're missing it here. What do you guys think we're missing? Exactly, Lord, tell them it's too simple. We just see simple assets all over the place. Get them together into a more storytelling. Get them together into a little environment. Like this bucket, this axe, this lamppost, and this anvil, all those 4 pieces could easily be part of a single scene by adding a couple more elements. And yeah, in general, I think this is a little bit too simple. So we need to show this within a context. Click on the bucket. Let's click on the bucket. The bucket. I mean, yes, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean, Tariq. We need to add more stuff. So here I would expect like a dock, like a boat here. And this is why I sometimes, it's not that I get angry, but it's just like, guys, just work a little bit more. Like, don't expect things to be easy. The world's not easy. So here, we create a plank, we bevel the edges a little bit, duplicate them, rotate them a little bit, only on the y-axis. Go, move them a little bit. Some pillars here, beams. This. Right. Go to our curves real quick. Sweep that. go. Side right there. This side. This face is right here. Babble those. Extrude that. What was this? It's like 4 minutes or something. Go. You get the idea, right? Like, this is super fast and super dirty, but you get the idea. So now imagine this thing going into Substance. We texture it, we have it, and there we go. Now we have something, a small little asset that's super simple to make. It's nothing complex modeling wise, and it's just gonna add to this whole story right here by being on the background right there. So that's the kind of stuff that you need to always think about. Like, what can I do, even if it's gonna take me 1 more hour, 2 more hours, but if that thing, it's always kind of like a return on investment, right? So you're like, okay, I'm gonna invest 2 hours on an asset for this particular scene, but it's gonna make my scene 2 times better, 3 times as better. Well, then it's worth it. You do it. If you then think, well, what about spending 5 hours doing like the ground here on the river, like some sands and seashells and stuff like that? Is that going to change the scene? No. Well, then you don't invest in that, but you do make the decisions to generate that effect. How do you fast duplicate? Very easy. So when you have an object here in Maya and you press Control D and you get like a certain distance, you press Shift D after that one, and that's like duplicate a special. So we'll duplicate at the same distance and even the same rotation. So for instance, if I Control D first and then I rotate a little bit and then let's say move it up and then Shift D, it will like modify that effect. Right, so it's duplicating the same exact sort of like movement and effect that I did before that. Shift D is the option. Let's see. A bit late on the stream. 10 viewer here. Thanks for the tips of my stuff. I will update as soon as we'll put review. There you go, man. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, so Aces is very interesting. Normally, I'm gonna make it super easy for you guys to understand this. So this is 0, this is blacks, and this is whites, okay? On an image. So normally we work with linear images like this. For instance, our metallic map or a roughness map is usually a linear image like this. But our screens, they work with something called the sRGB color space. And what sRGB does is it changes the way we visualize things. So I think, if I'm not mistaken, it does something like this. I'm not sure if this one or the other side. Pretty sure it's this one. So blacks are going to be a little bit more intense, and the whites are also going to be a little bit more intense. The problem is, if you have, for instance, an image, an HDRI image, and it goes above 1, let's say it has an intensity of 3, it clips it down to 1. Okay, so it brings that value down to 1, and you get this very weird effects. So what Aces does, what the Aces color space does, is it clips it a little bit easier. So instead of clipping it at this distance, it clips it at around this distance right here. So you're still gonna have this color correction, but then it's gonna be a lot smoother here on the highlights. So it allows for a nicer effect, and you can see it right here. This is without Aces. Everything's a little bit too dark and too intense, and this is with Aces turned on. So you're gonna get a more balanced, less intense, less contrasty look. And Aces is the one that they're using a lot in the film industry. So if you want things to look as sort of like stylized, or not stylized, like as realistic as possible without crunching the contrast values and stuff like that, you can use this Aces stuff. Sometimes it's a little bit too dark, so I like using this neutral map. So the Unity neutral map tone, as you can see right there, it's a little bit different, but Aces is like the default now inside of Maya. You can see this especially in highlights. So yeah, we'll talk about that in another video as well, because it's a little bit more technical. Let's go with Jasprit. It says, "Hi Abe, I'm an environment artist looking to work in the games industry. Sending my portfolio here to review before I start applying. I'm mainly looking for general feedback." Okay, nice. There we go. Yeah, this is exactly what I would like to see with an environment artist. I want to see assets such as this tree right here. Pine bark material in Substance Designer. That's really good, man, for Substance Designer. That's really nice. Great presentation here. Nice. And then we see some foliage with speed tree. Awesome. Ideally, once you have your trees on speed tree, just try to export them even to a simple environment inside of Unreal so that we can see them in game. But these are really, really good trees. I like them. Very good. Lighting studies. Yeah, light is very, very important for environment artists as well. Great. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, man. This is freaking awesome. My only advice for you, I think, would be to try to integrate this into a game engine. Because if you want to be an environment artist for games, you need to show that you can have this exact same result or as close as possible in-game. Okay? Which I know it's very possible. Like, if you already have it there, it should be fairly possible to do it. Look at this. This is a perfect example. Look how easy the assets are. Books, boxes, wood beams, a couple of chairs, a desk. I know everyone who's done 3D can model these things, but look how Jasprit is making an amazing presentation out of these elements. That's the secret, guys. Presentation is key. So this is freaking great, man. Look at that. Amazing, man. Amazing. Great portfolio. I really have nothing else to say, man. Maybe, again, just if you could do some exterior renders inside of Unreal, like with this lighting studies, to showcase your trees and maybe the house or something inside of Unreal, that would be very, very good. But this is amazing, man. I would say just start applying already. Like, you got all the necessary skills, man. Let's go with Cosmo. It says, "Hi Abe, I want to work as a creature artist, so I want to focus creating believable creatures." Okay. I would probably take this two out. They look a little bit more like exercises. They're not bad, but they are not as impressive as this white rhino right here. This is really good. I like this one. I feel like we're still missing some wrinkles, like some important wrinkles. Like if we look at rhino. Yeah, look at that. You can see that there's some like deep wrinkles right there. All of these ones right here, and in yours, it looks a little bit soft. Like right here, we can definitely add more detail. But it's a really good start, Koskun. This is really good. My advice would be to do dinosaurs are always good to exercise, especially scales and stuff like that, like this one that you have right here. But I would recommend that you practice a new one, because the more we do something, the better we get, right? And I can definitely see an improvement from this kappa to the white rhino. So it's just a matter of practicing a little bit more. You might also want to learn, if you want to do creatures, you might also want to learn a little bit about fur. So you might want to do a furry animal, like, I don't know, like a lion for the mane, or like a tiger or something like that, because fur is tricky. Definitely tricky. Kevin Adams says, "Hi Abe, I always wanted to work in the video game industry, but never trust myself enough on this possibility, since I seriously wanted to switch my career from hospitality to a more creative one. I have no special background and begun with ZBrush since 2 months ago now, trying to deliver quality in every project and still looking for my strengths as a 3D artist. I'd love to sculpt with a story and a concept. Thanks again." Okay, cool. So 2 months is very little time, I would say. It's not bad, but it's very little time. So I'm not expecting, of course, to see like super amazing models. I can definitely see that you're getting used to the tools. Let's take a look at the characters. Actually, this is not a bad character. I'm not sure if you were using a, what's the word, a base mesh for the head. My advice is, for these presentations, my friend, especially since we're looking at sculptures, try to use a more like flat shaded material, because it's very difficult to analyze the forms with all of this glossiness and shininess. These things, I'm pretty certain you got them from like a package. I know they sell these packages for like ornaments and stuff, which is perfectly fine. Again, we do that all the time in production. I always recommend people who are doing characters to start with characters that have little clothing. So female tribal warrior concept, for instance. So doing something like let's see. Doing something like maybe this. There we go. This one's perfect. Doing something like this will teach you more about anatomy, characters, proportions, and all that sort of stuff than doing a lot of armor. Armor teaches you more about like hard surface stuff and props and things like that. If you want to learn about characters, you need anatomy. It's very, very important. So yeah, there we go. Let's go with dynamic. It says, hi Ave, I just started doing 3D modeling for a few months and mostly I do hard surface model and I want and what I should do to have better improvement in some directions. Your honest feedback help me understand what I'm doing right. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, first advice, never do this, guys. Like, if you're gonna present a work, never talk bad about your work. I've mentioned this before. It's very, very important to never do this. So nothing just model. No, don't do that. Just explain what it is. I did the Mando helmet as a hard surface exercise practice. I use Blender. The most challenging part of this was this part right here. Like, just do it. This is another one. I love that picture, by the way. It's freaking hilarious. But remember that your portfolio is your presentation to the world, so just include a picture of yourself. I know we're all shy and stuff, but just put a picture of yourself, a nice picture of yourself, and that's good. One thing that I'm not seeing, my friend, is wireframes, so it's difficult for me to tell you whether or not we're following a nice line without wireframes. It looks nice. It's too dark, of course. Guys, use HDRIs. I'm not sure why everyone not uses them. Like, this is something that everyone should be using all the time. Just grab an HDRI and your render is going to look 10 times better. Like this Quarry Cloudy, it's an amazing one if you're doing like an exterior or something. Even for that car right here, like if you just add that one, the reflections and everything are going to look so much nicer. Because right now you just have like this big area light on the top of the car, and it's very difficult to appreciate all your hard work. So metals, whenever you have metals or very reflective surfaces, always use an HDRI. If you don't want to use an HDRI that has an environment on it, here on Polyhaven, you can also go to the studio section, and there's going to be some of them that are more like studio setting, like this one, Studio Small 9, this one right here, and just having those like lamp reflections and curtain reflections will make everything look nicer. So, look at how many portfolios we've seen so far. There you go. Okay, let's go with the next one. Giraffe. I think I've seen your portfolio before, my friend. We've gone through it a couple of times. This is the newest one. You can definitely see the improvement, though. Very stylized, but very good. I'm not sure what's happening there with the hair. It's like switching. If that was intentional, that's genius because it looks very cool. Gives a lot of like movement and dynamism to the character. If it's not intentional, then we need to check what the hell's going on there. But it's not a bad render. Yeah, this is good, man. Very stylized, but quite nice. Keep it up, man. Mudkeep says, hi Ave, I've always been dreaming to work in a game studio. I know my current portfolio is not fit for real-time rendering as for now, but I'm still working on my character design. I'm still not confident enough on my skill. What should I improve and which is better to focus on? Characters or creatures? Realistic or should I try stylized also? Okay, here's another thing, Mudkeep. Have you guys heard the phrase, fake it till you make it? It really works. Now, I'm not saying do a horrible render and just like sell it as if it's the best thing in the world. But saying that you're not confident enough, that's not something that you should say, of course, to a recruiter or to have it here in your portfolio. So it's very, very important that you always try to sell whatever it is you're doing, in this case, yourself as an artist, in the best possible way. Because this is not bad, man. Like, this is quite nice. That's a nice little production. Like, of course, there's things that can be improved, but I've seen other things that are not as complex as this one. Like that one's pretty cool as well. I like that one. The hand definitely could get a little bit more help, especially on the forms and on the shader. But I really like this character right here. Yeah, it looks really good. I think I've seen this one. So about the question, should you go stylized or should you go realistic? That's something that you're gonna have to answer for yourself, because right now I think you're right in the middle. So it's not stylized, it's not fully stylized, and it's also not fully realistic. So we're a little bit in this sort of like uncanny valley situation where you should definitely try to focus on the, on something specifically. Careful there, there was like a weird movement on the arm. Depth wise as well, there's some issues. Now I'm not sure what exactly like softwares you're using, but again, I think you're a little bit all over the place. So try to focus on something and try to pick, again, either stylized or realistic, what makes you happier. I know it sounds very like corny and cliche, but sometimes just like following your passion and your heart will give you better results. Hi, I'm a student. I love my work. You can send your work through the Discord channel, Asmoth, but next month. This month we've already closed submissions, my friend. Rafael Murta says, "Hi Abe, I recently graduated from my master's degree in this last semester and I want to get into the gaming industry as an environment artist. I know things are really bad right now, so I'm trying to improve as much as I can to be able to get in. Any kind of advice is greatly appreciated. Also, do you think it is worth studying more? For example, getting into another university for a more specific games production course?" No. I'm gonna explain why. And I'm just saying this because I already like glimpsed at your portfolio over here. You already have the skills. So this right here, it's actually like quite nice. I want to make sure that this is in Unreal Engine. There you go. So this skill right here is already telling me that you know the basics of the production pipeline for games. So it's very important that you always make the decisions that are going to get you closer to your goal. Going again to another school just to learn about all of these things like UV maps and textures and stuff like that might not be the best idea. However, one thing I could recommend is try to find specific, again, like courses or programs or things like that where you can meet more people and show them your skill so that you can get your name out there. Now you have a really nice piece right here with the little medieval city, and then we make the same mistake that we've been mentioning about, which is keeping things too simple. So this one, there's nothing wrong with just adding a wall and a desk and a lamp and papers, and that's it. And this is going to be now a scene instead of just like this simple prop that we have right here. So always try to play with that storytelling, Raphael, and that one's going to help you a little bit more. Here, lights. We definitely need to play a little bit with lights. I'm not sure what render engine you're using here. It looks like you're using Marmoset. Okay, so let me show you a trick with Marmoset. Yeah, exactly, Callum. I would recommend doing challenges, game jams, and stuff like that, again, to meet people, rather than studying another time. There we go. So this is the scene that I used the other day to showcase the maps. And a very common mistake, especially when people are doing very like low illumination scenes, imagine we're doing like a top-down view right here, is we get very harsh shadows. And shadows, so the problem here is that by default the lights inside of Marmoset are set up so that the shadows that we get are very hard. See that difference right there? Super simple thing, just increase the diameter of the shape a little bit. That's it. Look at that. You see that difference? Harsh shadow, very fake, very CG, looks horrible. Soft shadow, looks way nicer, looks way more interesting. That's all we need. Now, one more thing that I always recommend, especially if you don't have an environment, is just add a fake bounce light. I'm gonna add another light over here coming from the bottom. Actually, it's a little bit too bottom oriented, so right around here, because you never want to have your shadows be like completely gone. So in this one, I'm also going to increase the diameter, but I'm going to bring the brightness quite down. See that? So it's just a little bit of a fake sort of like bounce light that we're adding down here to make sure that these parts right here on the shadow section are not as intense. And then of course you can play a little bit with the brightness of the environment. And what we can do here, especially in Marmoset, we can actually bring this to a color. So we can keep a dark environment. Oh. And there we go. So this sort of like, again, contrasty effect with some harsh shadows coming from the top, but a soft border is going to make the whole thing look way more interesting and better than, what's the word? Than than this one that we have right now. That one. Where is it? This one. So see, because I see those harsh shadows, like that one right there. It's not what I would like. Like it just looks way too intense for me. Even this shadow right there, like it makes it look very fake, very unnatural, and that's the worst thing that you want to have on your stuff. Yeah, and you can do this in Maya. In Maya, you actually need to scale the light up, so you need to change the scale of the actual shape. Says, hi sir, my name is Interpret Singh, student. I like to work with my passion in 3D, also passionate to see about my work, dream to work in industry. I like to make art. Okay, so this is a cool car. Whenever you're doing cars, guys, show the wireframe. Show the freaking wireframe. Otherwise, it's impossible for people to know whether you did it right or wrong. It looks good, but without the wireframe, you could be doing a lot of like cheats or a lot of like errors. And yeah, we just need to work on more stuff, man. That one looks good. Just add the wireframe. I knew you because of the rigging, marmoset animation, and course character creation in Udemy. Eres el chido. Thanks, man. Yeah, I was with Nextdude for a couple of years. Well, several years, like 3 years. But I started doing my own stuff last year. So if you want to find my new courses, they are on my site, aveleon3d.com. Or www. Sometimes you need to add the www for whatever reason. But it's aveleon3d.com. And here we got 6 courses so far. It's a Maya, Blender, ZBrush, Marvelous Designer, Substance Painter, and the newest one, which released last week, which is the Retopology guide. So Ryan Del Moro. Same stuff. We got some cool stuff. I love this door. This is amazing. I could definitely see this in the game. Just add the wall and add the ground and add it inside of Unreal Engine, and you got a kick-ass portfolio piece. This one's really, really good. Amazing work. Oh, there you go. So, okay. So, see what I mean? Like, this is already here in Unreal. Just finish the scene. Just finish the archway. Add some tileable textures here for the stones. A little bit of a ground here. Maybe a box or like a bucket or a barrel or something, and you're already gonna have something that looks 10 times better, and it's gonna make this piece look even better. But this is a great piece. I love this one. Amazing sculpt right there. Guns, I've seen a lot of guns. This one again, it's such a simple asset. Try to find more stuff to add to that asset. And one of the things that I would recommend, because I can already see, I remember this one. Now I remember your stuff, because I remember this cabinet right here. One of the things that I would definitely suggest to you, my friend, is you need to do a full scene. If you want to be an environment artist, you need to do an environment, not just prop artist. This right here speaks to me as a prop artist, because there's a lot of props, but you need to do a full environment, okay? Hello, Ave. I'm Dev Agraf from India, and I'm eager to become a 3D character artist, and I want to contribute to major game studios, crafting characters for AAA titles. Your honest feedback will really help me. Let's take a look. So anatomy definitely needs a little bit of work. There's some muscle positions that can be improved or made a little bit better. I can see that you are using the full pipeline, so UV, textured, everything. Metal edgeware, again, very common complaint that I have about portfolios is where the metal edgeware here makes it, or it's just too obvious, like everywhere. And this is another important one. Can you guys see this little bag right here, this leather bag? What can you tell me about the shininess of this leather bag, guys? What do you see? Something very important, and I'm gonna show you in Marmoset how this is important, or how can we fix this. What can you see? The light's coming from the top. It's definitely a top light, but I want too specular. Yes, it has something to do with the specularity or with the reflection, but what is it? What is it that you see that's that has an issue with that? What's the problem with the specularity? It's too constant, right? It's too plain. There's no variation on the specularity. And I literally made a video yesterday about this. Open it again. So this is the color map of your object. This is the color map plus the metallic. As you can see, the glow or the shininess on this metallic is flat everywhere. Look at this area right here. See how it's reflecting the exact same amount of light everywhere. you need to change your roughness map, because the roughness map will break up. Look at that. Look at how it changed right here. It will break up how the roughness behaves on each specific part of your object. Some parts will be more reflective, some parts will be less reflective. Without the reflective map, with just a shiny map, as you can see, it's very flat. The reflections look very flat and very exaggerated. Look at this shine right there. And when you add the roughness, you break that up. You generate visual interest and make it a lot more interesting for the whole thing, okay? And then, of course, when you add the normal map on top of that, you break it even more and you get something that's more interesting. So in that case, it's not that the light is too intense, it's that there's not enough roughness variation. So it's just like variation on texture. And I'm even missing some variation on the normal map that could really help the whole thing. It's getting there. It's definitely improving. Again, I will probably take some of this stuff out from your portfolio. If you just want to be character artist, just focus on characters, but we definitely need to improve. I would recommend the stylized character course for you, because you haven't seen that, because we go through anatomy, and of course the anatomy course that I'm going to be releasing next month. Let's see. Soy Lotus, you can send me your portfolio through Discord, but we are not going to have reviews. Like, the reviews are closed right now, so we're going to open up next month, or for next month. So right now, unless we get some extra time, which I don't think, because we're still missing a couple of them, guess I'm gonna have to wait until next month. D-Lad, this is really good. Same stuff, same recommendation that I did for the last one. This is a really great asset integrated in a scene. Just do the walls, do the floor, and a couple of assets, and this is already a finished level for a game. So just make sure that we can see that. And also another thing would be to see the actual low poly, because this one looks a little bit heavy for the low poly. So I want to see what the poly count is for this object. That will be very, very important as well. But this is really, really good. I love the colors of the stone. I might try to soften this up a little bit. They look a little bit like jaggedy, like you can see the actual divisions of the cylinder. But this is really, really cool. And we have another one right here. Nice. Yeah, I mean, again, it's a simple asset, right? It's a relatively simple asset. That's okay. So this is an important note for everyone. This right here, Dila, this is not a low poly. This is like a decimated version. This is still, like, I cannot count how many triangles there are, but that's still quite heavy. So you might want to do another pass. I know right now we can use things like nanite, and really doesn't matter for static objects, but you definitely need to simplify this a little bit more. And we need to see more stuff. Definitely more stuff. Keep this sort of like aesthetic, this very clean aesthetic, because this is really, really good. Dennis says, "Hi Ave, hopefully you are well. This is my second portfolio review. I've added 2 new projects since then." Oh yes, I remember you. I'm a self-taught environment artist, trying to become one, and going to be applying to jobs soon. Okay, so here's another advice, Dennis, and this is again for everyone. Don't say things like, "I'm trying to become one," because there's no there's no like a global artist community that are gonna give you a title and a medal saying, "Dennis, now you are an environment artist." That's not gonna happen. So if you feel like you have all of the necessary skills, and I can tell you right now, I can see this here in your portfolio, you are an environment artist. It's not that you're trying to become one. You already are an environment artist. Now, do you want to be a professional environment artist, which means that you're going to be working on professional projects? That's another sort of like title or word. But it's more about like you feeling that you have the necessary skills. This is great. I would say maybe the scale on this thing looks a little bit odd. Like it looks like a miniature thing right here, but I love this sort of like duck. Ooh, really close, man. This is great. Really, really close. Yeah, careful with this piece right here. Yours looks like a little bit weird. I will probably add a couple more ropes to give it more stability, because it does look a little bit odd. But everything else looks really nice. Couple of issues in some scales, but I think you managed to nail the idea quite nice. Yeah, nice textures right there. Ave Leal from the international community of 3D artists has officially given you the title of environment artist. Yeah, again, guys, I feel like, and I talked about that on the last video. If you haven't seen it, check it in the YouTube channel. Success and this sort of like titles for some things that's very important, like a doctor, right? Like if you're gonna be a medic, of course you need the title. You're not gonna go and get yourself checked out at a hospital with someone who doesn't have the title. But for artists is such a subjective thing. I'm gonna show you here. Okay, again, this was a opinion that I had a couple of years ago. Like, I remember I used to say, oh, this guy is not a character artist because this is not a character. It's just a can with arms and legs. It's like, hey, it is, right? Like, it's obvious that that's what it is. But if he's making money, if he's happy, like whoever's doing this, and if he's having fun, then who am I to judge whether or not he considers himself to be a character artist or not? Like, let people be people. Let 3D artists be 3D artists, and you focus on your own stuff. Okay, so the same thing here. Like, if Dennis says, I don't consider myself to be a 3D environment artist, well, first of all, I do consider yourself. Like, if you show me this, I can totally see that you're a 3D character or 3D environment artist. So just keep working on your stuff, like keep doing more stuff, and now would be the, like, in your case, my friend, I would say that the next question that you need to ask yourself is what is it that you want to do? If you want to work at a studio, the first thing that you need to do is start sending this stuff to portfolio, like, recruiters, right? Like, you need to show this to other people that can hire you. I wish I had like a big project that I could hire you because you have amazing talent here, but unfortunately, like right now, the work that we're doing is relatively small in scope, so we don't need this advanced sort of like stuff. But show this to more people so that you get the shot or the chance to be working at a studio. Okay. Do you think it's better to be generalist or focus on one thing? It depends on the market. If you're working on a small market like I am in Mexico, where 3D is relatively small, I recommend being a generalist because you can do more stuff. If you're working in a very specific market like in US, in UK, in Canada, where studios are very, very big, then in those cases, it's better to be, I would recommend being focused on one specific thing. Douche Perschlik. Douche, I'm gonna give you the special medal today because you're the first 2D concept artist that we've gotten in a long time. Now, I'm not a 2D concept artist, but I hopefully can give you some information or some good tips right here. First of all, I saw this because I usually skim through the portfolios before the review, and I saw this one. This is an excellent one. This is a very fun project. I know it doesn't take that long to do this elements, but this is the kind of stuff that you are going to be asked to do a lot in the studio. Like, give me variations of amulets, give me variations on crates, give me variations on barrels, and then you're going to send this to a 3D artist. My advice for you, Douche, is to look for a 3D artist and do a teamwork. Talk to the 3D artist, let the 3D artist ask you something, you do it, and then you ask the 3D artist to do it in 3D. And that way, when you both publish the piece, it will give you both more credits because it's a finished piece where there was some collaboration involved. This is really good. Again, this is a cool little environment, but I would recommend looking for more references. So if we look for medieval churches, for instance, you're gonna see that there's more things going around, like the size of the windows, the size of the roofs, the walls and everything. So look for that reference and try to incorporate that into your design. So this square-like elements, that's not very common in medieval churches, so you might want to like change or modify some of those stuff. There we go. So yeah, other than that, I feel like more pieces. I know I'm gonna probably sound bad by saying this. I'm not saying that 2D is easier than 3D, but I do know that 2D can produce faster pieces than 3D because of the process. So do more stuff. Try doing more stuff. This is good. This is 3D. I like this one. This is from like Elden Ring or something. Yeah, this is not bad, man. You are showing the full process. So if you want to do full characters, I might recommend again that the Oni course, where you go through ZBrush and the whole process, because I feel again that forms are the things that need a little bit more work. My name is Kushagra, and I'm looking for jobs opportunities as a 3D modeler or generalist. I want to work in the film industry and become a film director. Would love to know what skills should I start learning to become a film director. Okay. So from a 3D perspective, I see cool stuff. This looks nice. And I'm scheming to get and see if we have a wireframe. Yes, we do. Okay. Yeah, so this is good. I'm gonna be brutally honest with you guys, but I guess sometimes you do need that. Oh, this is great, man. I love this one. It's really good. I feel like this is something that people need every now and then. Go full screen. If you want to do something, you have to do it. That's it. There's no secret to it. So here my friend is asking, I want to be a director. Start directing. Grab your cell phone, grab a friend, go outside, film something. This is a tip that Guillermo del Toro gives, by the way. If you want to write a book, start writing. Your first couple of sketches or writes are gonna suck. If you want to be a character artist, start doing character art. If you want to do game dev, start doing game development. Download Unreal and start programming. You guys need to stop being so afraid of fucking up, and you need to start doing the work, because that's the one thing that's keeping you guys from being great. Doing the actual thing that you want to do. You want to do a movie? Do a freaking movie. Of course, don't try and go and do Lord of the Rings by yourself, right? But grab a piece of paper, write a script for a 5-minute movie, go and get some friends, record the movie, do some color correction, edit, and there you go. You got your movie. Is it gonna suck? Probably yes, but it's gonna be your first movie. Then you do the second movie, and then you do the third movie, and then you do the fourth movie, and then you keep going, and eventually you're gonna get there, okay? Like, I was talking to David about this, about our courses, and I've been doing courses, I've been teaching for more than 10 years, guys. So, of course, the quality of courses that I'm able to produce now is way better than the kind of quality of content that I used to produce a couple years ago. But this is because I've kept doing it. Every month I'm doing a course. So I've been doing, I don't know, I think I'm probably at my 30 or 40th course or something like that, plus all of the classes that I've taught. So of course I'm getting better at teaching, and of course I'm getting better at doing it, because that's the thing I've been focusing on. If I now wanted to write a book, of course the first book that I'm gonna write is gonna suck. But the next one might be a little bit better, and the next one might be a little bit better, and that way you grow as an artist. That's why we have our freaking motto: always learning, always improving. But people are so scared of failing that they don't even try. They don't even give it the first test, or they don't even want to take the first step on becoming whatever it is you want to become. Okay, so yes, of course, Lord Tellum right there is saying something that's very important. Connections are going to be very important. Yes. Who you know is going to be very important. Yes. But imagine, and this is the best example. I don't remember who gave me this example, but when they told me that, it changed my life on how I approach my artwork. Imagine Lord Tellum. Imagine, who was it right here? Kushagra. That I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to give you the one opportunity. I'm going to put you in front of Guillermo del Toro. He's going to have 5 minutes for you. And I want you, you're going to have this shot, and I want you to present whatever it is you want to present to convince him to fund your next movie or your next project, to give you a shot as a director. If you don't have anything to show, then you just destroyed your opportunity. It's gone. There's no way you're going to be able to do it, right? Because you don't have anything to show. But if you've been working on, and I give you those 5 minutes, that opportunity, you're going to make the best out of that shot, and you're going to get something great. A lot of people say or excuse themselves with, oh, well, but I don't have the connections, I don't have the money, I don't have the experience. Okay, fine. There's a ton of other people in the world that don't have those things either. Do you have at least the hard work, the discipline, and the results? Have you been working on it, or are you just complaining? Because if you're just complaining, get the hell out of here. There's no way I can help you. However, if you've been doing the work, and you've been trying very hard, then if the opportunity arises, and unfortunately I cannot promise that opportunity is going to arise, but if it arises, you are going to be prepared. Otherwise, it's just you complaining about something that you're not even trying. I had a very sad story about I'm not going to say exactly who, because I don't want people to track him down, but he always complained about not having the opportunity, and he always complained to me about being hey, he always said, oh, you had all the opportunities, you went to a great school, you had all the money in the world to buy your computer and your equipment, and that's why you're successful. It's no, dude, I'm successful not only because of that, but because I took all of those opportunities and used them to really do the work and get out there. You guys have no idea how many courses, how many free mentorships, how many advices I've given to people throughout the years. And I'm going to be brutally honest here. 90% of the people that I gift a course to, they never do it. they never take the course. They just don't see it. They don't watch it. I get this like super horrible PD like email of, oh, I'm very poor, I cannot afford a computer, but I've seen your Blender course and I want to take it, but I don't have the money to buy it. And I say, hey, here's a code, get it for free, do it. I want to support you, I want to help you out. And then they never come back. I never see their result, I never see their portfolio. And then I check the stats of like the course competition, because I can see when someone buys a course, I can see how they're doing on their progress. And they never even started it. It's like, the problem was not the money. The problem was not the course or the tools. The problem is that you don't want to do the work. You don't want to work for your goal. And there, I cannot help. I can give you the information, I can give the resources, but I cannot help someone that does not want to be helped. Okay? Or no, not that doesn't want to be helped, that does not want to put in the work. So if you have a goal, go for it, guys. I know society, capitalism, the world is a freaking mess all the time. But hey, the only thing that we can do is try. So if you don't even want to try, this is not the community for you. And yeah, Topi, as you say, this goes for everything in life. For everything. And it goes really hand in hand with one of the advices that I gave on the video. Again, I think it's a very valuable video. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. And that's the fact that success, we tend to see success attached to a title, right? We just saw it right here. If, for instance, I want to write a book, and I'm mentioning the book because I really want to write the book, I might do it, but I need to understand, me, Abraham, I need to understand that if I write a book, that book might not be a bestseller, but that's fine, because art is one of those things that you don't do for the success. You do it for you. You do it for the thing that you're creating. And if no one in the world ever reads my book and no one sees that, that's fine, because I'm happy because I wrote it. And then if someone else does it, like or reads it and enjoys it, amazing. Even if just, and I've told this to David every single time I upload a video or a short, I say, if I upload a short or I upload a video or I upload a premium course and only one person in the world benefits from it, to me, that's worth it. Because I'm not doing it out of like other motives. I'm doing it literally to help people. So if people see that and use it and it helps them, even if it's just one person, that's great. That's amazing. I'm happy. And if you understand that, like, you will create things for the sake of creation, for the sake of art, it literally can change your perspective. But again, you need to put in the work, because if you don't do it, if you don't put in the work, then very difficult to help you. Very, very difficult. So yeah, Column says there he has his own motto, creating amazing things always. Yeah, always do the best you can with the resources you have. And once you have that, that's it. There's nothing else you can do, and therefore that's the best option or the best way to go around something. The Pinocchio movie came out, what was it, last year or 2 years ago? The one from Guillermo del Toro. And there's a very nice quote that the Jiminy Cricket always says. It's like, you did what you could with what you had, or something like that. Someone look at that quote for me, if you can, please. It was the Jiminy Cricket quote from Guillermo del Toro. And it was very... It's very heartwarming, because we tend to be very harsh with ourselves on how much we demand from ourselves. And you need to understand that there are a lot of things that are out of your control. So you need to work with what is within your control. And if you're doing the best you can with what is within your control, then you are being a successful artist, because that's all you can do. The opportunities, the connections, all that stuff, it's going to be complicated, because the world is complicated. But you need to work with what you have every day, just a little bit, and work towards your goal. That's the way of an artist. Yeah, start whenever you can with the resources you have, as Onega says right there. Let's go with Mayank here. Says, hey there, I'm Mayank, 3D game artist based in India. In my role, I specialize in creating stunning 3D models, whether it's hard surface designs or intricate organic characters like cloth characters. Let's take a look. Characters. Yeah, this looks good, man. This looks good. Usually with this kind of stuff, ideally you want to finish it. So you have a very nice high poly right here. Make it a low poly. Show us how would you translate this into a game-ready characters, so that you can see that this actually works at the There you go. That's the quote. You must try your best, and that's the best anybody can do. Oh, freaking amazing quote, man. Must try your best, and that's the best anybody can do. Yeah, because if you tried your best, whatever the result, doesn't matter. Whatever the result, you did your best. Careful with the metal edgeware there. Careful with this guys as well. I don't know why this happens. Well, I actually do know. It has to do with topology. But a lot of times weapons, especially like chunky weapons, like they don't feel like they are sharp. And you need to work on that to make sure that they look a little bit sharper. And this very sort of like clay-like effect. Like here the textures are a little bit too saturated. Like the difference between the darks and the lights is way too much, so it looks kind of like cel-shaded, kind of like cartoonish. I would probably tone that down, but like this one right here, I'm not exactly sure. Echo Can, I'm not sure what it is, but it looks very good. Here I would probably change your focal length. I think you're using a very flat focal length, and we're losing a lot of perspective. But other than that, it looks good, man. Yeah, that's some really nice topology right there. Very simplified. That's great. Yeah, you're welcome, Kushagra. And again, every now and then we need those quotes. We need those phrases. We need to get like a reality check and be like, hey, am I really doing all the hard work that I should be doing? Because if you're not, well, get to it. Start working. Try your best. I had this very tough conversation with another student. This was like 2 or 3 years ago. Because here in Mexico, the industry is really small. Really, really small. Like, we don't have big studios like Riot or things like that. Not even for big feature films. But there is work. There are studios, and there are a lot of things that you can do. And he was complaining about that. He was like, oh, I hate Mexico. We suck as artists. We don't have good stuff. I was like, wait. We have great artists. And there's a bunch of great Mexicans working in the industry in other places doing amazing things. So what do you hate? Like, do you actually hate Mexico, or do you hate the situation you're in? Like, oh, well, yeah, I hate it. I hate that I'm here and I cannot work in Riot or in Pixar. It's like, okay, is your portfolio ready to be working at those places? No. Are you doing anything to improve that? No. Are you doing anything to meet people that are working on those places? No. Do you have any plans or things or strategies to go there and actually be physically in LA, for instance, to be working at those places? No. Well, what the fuck are you complaining about, right? You're not doing anything. You're not really working towards your goal. You're just complaining. And I've told this to my wife several times, that there's something that I hate, not because of her, but she usually complains a lot about her friends, and I always tell her, I hate people who complain about something and they're not doing anything to change that something. It's like, why? Like, why complain about something you're not even willing to take a step in fixing? And I'm not sure if this happens everywhere, but there's a lot of people like that. They just love to complain, and they love to say how bad the industry is, how horrible the conditions are for artists, how capitalism sucks, how the government is making all of these mistakes. Okay, sure. Are you doing actually anything to change any of those things? Because if you're not, it's just freaking excuses, right? Yeah. Just, and it really irks me. Like, I've seen a lot of, and even here, like, not you guys, like, not right now on the chat, but I've seen comments on the YouTube page, on my Instagram post, on TikTok, and they complain about stuff, and then I go and take a look at their portfolio of their stuff, and it's like, well, you're complaining about something and you're not even there. It's a little bit complicated to make a point, right? So if you're gonna complain about something, at least put in the work to fix that something. The kind of students that I love, for instance, is people who are like, I suck at anatomy, I cannot get better in anatomy. And then I ask them, okay, can you show me what you've done? And they send me like several exercises and several studies and several things that I've tried, and I can see that they're trying, but something's not working. Those I love to help, because I know that they're putting in the work. And I'm gonna help them, and sometimes, again, I give them like a free session or like a free mentorship or something. It's like, hey, okay, let's sit down and let's analyze and see what's going on. And I try to figure out, and usually we find the solution, because they're actually trying to work towards that solution. But if they're not doing anything, I ask them, oh, how many like human studies have you done? None. Well, of course you suck at anatomy, you haven't done anything. But it's part of the learning process, and hopefully this, again, I'm not sure if this is rude what I'm saying so far, but I know it's harsh reality that some people need to hear about. I hope this is helping you guys. I hope you understand that anyone in the world, no one is entitled to anything. You need to fight for it. You need to work for it. And if you put in the hard work, you will see results. And once you see those results, you can see how to improve those results. Like, it's a matter of focusing on specific goals, because I think we mentioned this quote last time we had the stream. You can learn anything. You can be good at anything, but not everything. So you need to focus on things. Very, very difficult to do everything. Claberton Lara, what's up, my friend? Welcome. And that's it. We actually managed to get to the end of the of the portfolio. I thought it was gonna take us a little bit more, but yeah. I got time for 2 more portfolios. So Ober and Rogue Panda, I know you commented there on the post. Send me your portfolio and I'll take a look. Just 2 more. The first 2 portfolios, because otherwise we're gonna have 20 more portfolios. So the first 2 portfolios that submit the link on the Discord stuff, I'll take a look at it. Yeah, there's a lot of people complaining about stuff and not actually doing the work to improve. And I think it was there's another very famous Mexican director called Alfonso Cuarón. He's done amazing movies as well, and he also gives this advice. It's like, you want to do films, you want to direct for films, take your freaking camera and start directing. That's it. Just take your phone, go outside, record something, think about the story, write the script, do a storyboard, even if it's an ugly storyboard, because I feel like people are, we tend to be very perfectionists with ourselves, right? So if I tell you do a storyboard, a lot of people are gonna be like, oh, but I don't know how to draw, so let me learn how to draw before I can do this storyboard. This is a perfectly valid storyboard. I know it's stupid, but it's a perfectly valid storyboard, and you can make it work. This is a perfect valid storyboard. Do you need to draw to do this? No, you just need to scribble, and that's it. So we tend, it's the same thing about game development. Like, people tell me, hey, I want to do a game, right? Okay, you're not gonna do Elden Ring as your first game, but you can definitely follow some tutorials and do Flappy Bird again, and that's it. You did your first game, and then on your second game you do something a little bit more interesting, and then in your third game you do something a little bit better, and again, that's how you grow from simple to complex, which is the same thing that I follow whenever I'm teaching my classes. That's why on the courses, chapter 1 and chapter 2 are always this sort of like simple initial stages of understanding the software with simple exercises, and then we do more complex stuff, because if we jump straight to the complex stuff, it becomes very difficult to follow, and it becomes very difficult to complete, and then you get discouraged, and then you never pursue your dream anymore. So today was a very sort of like hard truths day, right? I think it was needed. I think we needed to go through this sort of stuff. If you're in the Discord, Taha, you still got a chance, because I'm gonna review 2 more portfolios. Is the portfolio review like actually closed, or can people still comment? I think people can still comment. That one artist. Hello, I'm just hanging out, lurking, getting ideas for streaming tonight. All the good stuff. How are you? That's Emmanuel. What's up, guys? Lord Telm says, another big problem people have is once they realize that actually following through on an idea is hard, they stop working on it. Yep, that's right. And this is something that Ryan Kingsley used to say. He's someone that I follow quite a bit. I'm quite inspired. And he mentions that every time you start a project, you're usually very motivated because it's very, very exciting to start something. But actually going through the whole project can be quite tiresome. So you need to have the discipline to go through it. I realize that a lot of people use AI as an excuse to give up or not try. Yep, that's also right. But have you seen stuff with AI done? Like, I know AI has been the focus of discussion for the past year, and I think it's overrated. I think it's really good for a lot of stuff, but I already saw yours in there pretty soon. We went through it. My main concern about yours was that we need the wireframe. See wireframe. Because this looks good, but without the wireframe, it's very difficult to judge the quality of the modeling. So yeah, I think AI is a little bit overrated. It's good, don't get me wrong. It's useful. I've used it for like the subtitles and stuff, but it's a little bit overrated. Yeah, exactly, Oshan. It's good to have this type of conversation. It's kind of like a wake up call to get your stuff back in line. Well, I guess that's it, guys. This was a very fun conversation. Again, I definitely feel like we went a little bit tougher on the portfolio review than other times, but I think it's necessary to have this again tough reality checks to understand that it's not easy. What we do is not easy. Being an artist is, and I mentioned this before as well, is very intense, because not only do we do work, like actual office work if you wish, but there's also the fact that every time we do something, we leave a little bit of ourselves in that thing that we're creating, a little bit of our soul, right? And dropping that or doing that can be quite consuming as an artist. So it's very important that you always do the best thing that you can, guys. Always try to do your best. If you need more tools, ask for help. There's nothing wrong with asking for help. There's other people that have gone through the things that you're going. So it's very important to ask for that help and find the motivation, find the necessary tools that you need to create all of the amazing things that I know you can create. So yeah, that's it, guys. I want to see you making amazing things. I want to see them here on the Discord, on social media, and I'm sure if you're here, I'm sure you got the burning passion that we have to be amazing artists. So keep pushing, keep working. Don't forget, always learning, always improving. And of course, I'll see you back on the next stream. That's it, guys. Have a great weekend, and yeah, see you on Discord. Bye bye.